Good morning. Well, it would be a good morning if you're not a Phoenix Suns. Stunning. I'm so stunned that they let us down again and that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant can't by themselves carry a team to a playoff series win. I'm very surprised by that. I didn't see it coming at all.
I am surprised. I mean, they're the best players
They're good.
in the league.
They're good. It's nice to have a third player of some sort. Like, you know, say a DeAndre Ayton would be good to
Jimmy
have
Butler
on your
doesn't
team.
need a second
That's
or
true.
a third
He
player.
doesn't need anything else. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program.
Some JM.
Yeah? You were getting antsy there. I hadn't brought you. It'd have been 30 seconds. I hadn't brought you on.
I thought I was going to do the intro like the old days.
Oh, you want to try something?
He won.
Hit the music. Hit the music again. We'll see what it is that Drew has cooked up for this. I'm looking forward to it.
He once spent all night in Cape May, New Jersey, looking for heavy twins, as he called them. He also once lost a wager that Gary Williams had 4 moles on his left arm, not 3.
Thought I had counted them.
And he recently celebrated a wedding anniversary in which all of us lost out on that pool.
Yeah.
Because
No way anybody saw 9 years coming.
we thought it would never go past 3 years.
No chance.
He is the great Glen.
What's weird is I lost that bet too. I said by about year 4, she'll have figured it all out by then.
Dude, I just want to find, you know what I really want to find?
Yeah, some
2
heavy twins.
overweight, identical twins. Where do you think we could find
Right.
those? I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Who are you?
It's weird. Why were we in Cape May? I don't
I
really
think that
know.
was in Indianapolis, actually.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember.
I think those were elderly women that
Oh.
we were talking to.
correct.
Indianapolis at that
I
point.
give you credit there.
She was 70, but she was hot.
I don't think she was 70. She might have been pushing 80.
Yeah.
But she was definitely,
Yeah.
for 80, she
Yeah.
was like Lovey from Gilligan's Island.
Right, exactly
If
right.
you look back on that now,
like
you're
Thurston did well, yeah, 100%.
Very well,
I'm
right.
with you.
I mean, this woman was Lovey from Gilligan's Island.
Drew Forrester is here, drewsmorningdish.com. Fairways and Greens on 105.7. Hey, it was good to see us. I always
Couldn't make
appreciate
it
that. I always appreciate that moment we get to share.
Couldn't
together.
make it on Sunday.
It's great to
There's
see
a
you.
full crowd scene at the food line.
Yeah.
That's from Fest on the original.
Thank
Yeah, I couldn't make it Sunday. I'll be
No,
there,
that's
I
too bad.
think, this Sunday.
Okay, that's why you're here today,
you-
is because you didn't have to go record your
Are you
show.
coming in Sunday?
Yeah, I'm coming in.
You guys
Sunday.
are there Sunday?
We
Okay.
do a special Mother's Day show. We
Oh, cool.
invite some Baltimore sports moms on the program.
Oh, cool.
And
Okay.
celebrate mothers on.
I'm talking golf. I'm going to talk about the PGA Championship.
Well, that's the following week. I know.
No, I know,
I'm
but
going to help you out
I
with
won't
this.
be there that weekend.
Oh, of course not. Why would you be there PGA
I can't-
Championship
I can't do that
week?
weekend.
Yeah,
I got something else brewing.
this is going well. This experiment.
It's 1 hour.
Right, but I understand. But it's the week of the PGA
I know.
Championship. I'm pretty sure people want to talk about.
They do, but
Thanks for the strong lead-in, buddy.
they do.
Appreciate
but that's
it.
just not a good weekend for me.
We got the notification that we didn't finish number 1 in our time slot this past week, and I said, "Well, I know whose fault that is. Sure as heck
Who'd
isn't
you
ours."
guys lose out to?
Well, the Orioles games is who we
Oh,
lost out
oh,
to, so
yeah.
I don't feel quite as
Okay,
bad
okay,
about that.
I got you.
Yeah, but I was
All
going to blame you for not giving us a stronger lead-in.
A lot of people were listening to the golf talk. I got a lot of emails from people
Yeah, got a lot
talking
of
about Will
got
Weirs,
a lot of emails.
Yep.
I'm sure that's the
Arnie's
case.
grandson.
Drew is here for
You know, you can
better
take
or
the
for
sticker
worse.
off that hat.
I could.
Yeah.
Anyway,
just leave
Drew's
it on.
here. It's an option. You know what other options are?
Are we going to London? I'm not going.
So, you're not going to go this time?
No.
You decided to pass this
no.
time around?
Did it once, not doing it again.
Drew's here later on in the program. Brett Makar, star Maryland Lacrosse defender, number 3
Yeah,
pick.
that
in
was a nice
yeah, that was a.
way to
They
go.
do really well against Michigan.
How on earth did Michigan get so good at
Unbelievable,
lacrosse?
isn't it? Well, I'm not sure how good they are. They're just really good against Maryland
Wow.
for whatever reason.
Wow.
We'll talk to Brett Makar. They get ready for Army on Saturday
Is
night.
Loyola's not making it, right?
Loyola did not make it. They fell short. They lost to Army in the
Yeah, but they're
Patriot
not
League
making
title.
they're not getting that.
Well, they already announced the field.
I'm
It's already
saying
been
they
set. Yes,
didn't.
Loyola is not in
Right,
the
right,
field.
right.
Correct.
They didn't
Yeah,
make
they
it.
fell short. Yes, that was the point. Hopkins made it.
Weird,
They'll be at
right?
home.
Loyola was
Yes,
you and
the
I had
first-
Charlie Toomey on here
first
2
2
weeks
weeks of
in.
the
He was looking
season.
for a contract extension.
100%. Unfortunately, it did not. That was not sustainable.
Yeah, they
All
bottomed
downhill
out in the
from there.
Patriot League, right?
They did. Yes, all of these things are true. They lost to Navy. They lost to BU. They lost to. It was.
How do you lose to Navy in anything that doesn't involve
Well, they
shooting?
turned around. Well, right, they beat Navy in the Patriot League tournament. It looked like. Then they turn around. They beat Boston University in the Patriot League
and
tournament.
then rolling.
Looked like all was well.
Then they lose to Army.
They lost to Army. They couldn't win a face-off. Was really what came back to bite them. They beat Maryland despite not winning a face-off. As it turns out, that wasn't quite as impressive as we thought it was at the time.
What did Maryland lose this year? 4 games?
5 games, including the tournament. Right?
Oh, 5. Okay.
Yeah.
4 in the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rough.
What was up with the handshake afterwards?
Yeah, I don't know what the story is on that. I really don't. I have no idea.
Tillman pissed off about?
Well, probably about the fact that his team just got their ass kicked, if I had to guess.
Okay, but you got to shake
the
guy's hand.
I don't. Well, he did. It was terse and quick.
It was perfunctory, as Brian Billick would have said.
I mean, he did shake his
It
hand.
looked pretty flimsy.
But they clearly
What
wanted.
happened?
I don't know.
Okay, well, you're Mr. Mayor. You wear the
No,
turtle
I
head.
don't. It's over.
Okay.
It's been over for a long time.
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Yeah, I had to turn it back in after a little while.
I love the smell of it.
Yeah, right. Anyway, the moral of the story is that we'll talk to Brett Makar, and also we'll go to Aberdeen. Trace Bright will
Well,
join
tell him
us.
I said nice game.
Okay, I'll pass that
Yeah.
along. My friend Drew wanted you to.
Just way to go there.
Nice game. And Brett Makar, the number 3 pick in the PLL draft last night, so he's got that going for him, which is nice.
Yeah.
All right, yes, the Ravens are going to London. They're going to play for the second time in franchise history. The bummer for fans, I don't know if there's excitement to go to London again, particularly after the way the things went the last time. But Nashville was going to be the most popular trip of the year.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
It was going to be.
It was going to be a takeover.
30,000 Ravens
No
fans in Nashville.
It was going to be a takeover.
It was going to be overwhelming, and now that's off the table. I guess Jacksonville will be the most popular trip of the year because everything else. There's a lot of
But
travel.
what if the Jacksonville trip is September?
Yeah,
then
it's
it loses
just-
its appeal.
Yeah, it's baking hot in Jacksonville at that point.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be great.
If it's December, that's a different story.
Yeah, or I think
Or
like
November.
Yeah, late October, November is the ideal time for the Jacksonville trip if you want to get a boatload of Ravens fans to make the trip. And then everything else is out west. I mean, like this is a lot of travel this year. For as much as we talked about last year, hey, the schedule sets up. This year is brutal.
They play the Cardinals away?
They play the Cardinals away, the 49ers away, the Chargers
I would
away.
potentially do a trip to Phoenix.
Well, I love
Phoenix. I went last time and took a group, and we played at the Wigwam.
Ooh, the Wigwam.
And stayed out there, and I think that's where in the old days, that's where the Kansas City Royals spring training home base was. So depending on when that is, I would consider doing a trip out there for 8 or 12 golfers.
Okay, well, I'm not going to make that trip. But other than
Well,
that,
I didn't invite you.
Correct. Well,
it's to be through 105.7, the station I work at.
Well, I work there too. It's so funny you say that. Yeah, but I didn't finish number 1.
I don't know if you heard, but yeah, they're making some.
Oh boy,
they're looking at.
Oh,
they're looking at a lot of the talent over there.
Oh yeah. well, that's a conversation that we'll never have. We'll just leave that one alone.
Hey, how's Bob Huggins doing?
We'll get to it. Settle. Keep it in your. Could you keep it in your pants
Has
for
he
just
been
1
canned
second?
yet?
Not yet. Would you please
keep
it in your pants? My God.
How is that possible?
Would you please?
Sure.
Try to do a show.
By the way, I'm not pleased at all about this blue that doesn't go with my shirt.
What happened to you?
I got blood done today. I had a rheumatology.
What do you mean you got
appointment.
blood done?
Well, blood work, a rheumatology appointment.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
It's a place where you go for inflammation, joints, that kind of stuff. You'll see when you get older.
I was going to say, I'm about to be 40.
You're
when do I have to start
10
worrying
years
about
away.
that? Oh, okay. All right. Well,
10
years.
years. 10 years.
Well, I'm a little bit healthier than you too, if I'm being honest.
I don't think so.
I'm a bit more of an
Your
athlete.
liver certainly didn't agree with that.
I had to give my liver a break, like for the rest of its life.
Yeah, right.
They were like, they said, you have another drink, and that could be the one.
Right.
Said
you should,
well,
and you
mean one? I can't have
You're
one.
not telling me you're going to rehab, are you? Rehab's for quitters.
That's right. That's exactly what I should have said. We don't know the rest of the schedule, but they did announce the international. Oh, you do? You got it? You want to leak something? You want to go ahead and?
Right. Ravens are open at home.
No? Oh, but you're doing that based on what the Orioles schedule is.
Maybe.
That's what you're doing that based on. You're looking at the Orioles
telling
schedule.
you.
You're looking at the Orioles schedule, and you're
opening it
trying
home
to figure it out. Yes, the only thing we actually learned today is that week 6 they are headed to London to play. You know what's weird? They don't guarantee. I don't know if it's a choice now, but remember, it used to be that meant that your following week was the bye week. That's not the case anymore because I don't know if teams chose that they didn't want to necessarily have the bye week following the London game, or if the NFL just said, sorry, this is the way it goes
Well,
now.
why wouldn't you want that?
I don't know.
What's
Maybe
the logic there?
they don't think it's as dramatic of an adjustment as we thought it was once upon a time.
Okay, so you're going over there. You leave here at 7 at night. You get over there at 7 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
By
the way,
now
every player I've talked to has said, stupid.
What?
They try to get people. You try to get these guys to sleep on the plane.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of
Well, Russell Wilson running up and down the aisle.
but there's a bunch of
doing
logic
high
to all of
knees,
that, right?
right.
So 7. So you get there at 7. Okay, then you're there for whatever 4 or 5 days.
At some point the teams decided that was the best way to do it, and I'm telling you, every player I've talked to about that over the years said.
I thought I read something recently. It was this related more to golf. Like I was reading something about the Ryder Cup where they're saying you want to minimize the time that you're there.
That's what
you want to get over there on Friday or Saturday, not on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right. You don't want to adjust.
That's the new thing, right? But anyway, I'm just thinking the game starts over there at 9. No, the game starts over there at 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30.
It's a 2:30, yeah.
2:30 game.
Yeah.
Game ends at 5:30. You're on the plane at 8 their time. You get back here, and it's I'm trying to go backwards. You get back here, it's 3 in the morning.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Does that sound right?
Hang on a second.
Because you're losing 5. I'm trying to figure out which way
but
is
just
the
do
harder.
it. Just do it from Eastern. Don't mess around with it at all. So it's 9:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Right.
Game's over at
12:30.
12:30, 1 o'clock.
Right.
You're out of there by
3.
I mean, the way these teams get out of there anymore, like
you're
they try
on
to
the
get out of
plane
it.
at 3.
Yeah, okay, we'll go
You're
with
home
that.
at
We'll
9.
say
You're home at 9 o'clock.
Right. So they might just sort of say it's just not as dramatic as you guys are.
Right, and I would say that because you're coming back this way, it's probably easier. That would be my guess.
I don't know why. I don't know why it changed.
I think it would be different if the return trip where you were going back to get settled was putting you forward 5 or 6 hours.
Right.
That's just me.
I don't have the answer to this, but that's all I know is that at some time ago they decided.
This is still of all the league does a lot of dumb things. This is right up there with some of the dumbest things they do. Playing these games over there.
I mean,
it's idiotic.
While I hear you, they got to pay Lamar Jackson $260 million. Like it's got to come. It's got to come from somewhere.
It's one thing if you have a team in London.
I understand.
And you have a team in London, and they play games over here for 8 weeks, and then go home and play. But you don't even have a team there. You're just going over there like it's a carnival.
Because they need to find another market to sell to. They need to get good money for these games. They're opening. By the way, it's just they're going to Germany. They're going to go to.
Oh, they're going to Japan or somewhere.
100%.
Yeah.
They're going to be taking regular season games. They used to, of course, play preseason game. Yeah, we stopped.
We should do one for. Is he going to play in December?
That's what you want to do next.
Let's do that one.
This is like a puppy with a shiny ball.
Let's do that one.
In the middle of a sentence, all of a sudden he looks over.
Let's do that
says, one. Look at that thing.
I'll
There's
start it
something else
off.
in here. Okay,
28%.
Yeah. There you go. Very good. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You and I actually haven't had a conversation since it got. You came in here to try to gloat the one morning, and you didn't realize that Stan came in on Friday. So then you turned around and you quit.
No, I didn't. I just came in to say hi. I was right there. I was right next door.
So you and I actually haven't had a conversation since then.
Okay.
It's funny because it just feels also anticlimactic. Everything sort of feels like we've gone from paranoia and panic to everybody converting right back to the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. Like it's hilarious how quickly this went from.
Eric's life changed.
Well, yeah.
Eric said he looked down at the text.
Yeah.
He said I was getting the coffee. I came back. I looked at my phone. I'm like,
do you buy?
We just signed Lamar.
Do you buy the thing that Jeremy Fowler said this week? That if they hadn't gotten the deal done, they could have drafted Will Levis?
No.
Okay.
Because they wanted to draft Forbes. So either way, they were going to draft Forbes if he was available. From what I heard.
Okay, so Forbes wasn't going to be available. So now let's skip ahead.
No, they were not. They weren't doing that.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, I think they were prepared to go on without him. I think Eric was shocked when he looked down at his phone and saw Lamar said, let's get this done today. I think Eric was surprised. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that, but I don't think they were going to draft they still had Lamar. Lamar was going to play for them in 2023 at some point for $30 whatever million or whatever the number became. They weren't going to draft a quarterback. I just don't buy that.
But they were going to set themselves up to go through this hell all over again.
But they weren't going to draft a quarterback. That those kids aren't. They weren't.
I'm much more interested.
They weren't
in
drafting a quarterback.
I
wonder if they will regret. This is what I've heard. They were willing to go. It was who was before the Chargers? Was it Minnesota? Or was Minnesota after the Ravens? Who was before the Chargers?
Minnesota was after.
It went Washington, someone, Chargers, Ravens.
Washington, someone, Chargers, Ravens. Who took Jackson Smith and Jigba? Seattle.
Okay, and if DC would not have taken Forbes, the Ravens were willing to move up 2 to get Forbes. They weren't willing to go any more than that.
It's kind of silly.
I'm just telling you. You can tell them they're silly, but that's
but I like
that they wanted to move up. They were willing to move up 2 spots to get him.
Given the overall look, maybe.
But anyway, I'm just saying that
if they believe that guy's that much, I just have made sense to me.
That was their guy.
It's fine, and I hear you.
I think this receiver is going to be very good. But again, I'm saying that totally understanding.
Right, but you don't think they'll ever succeed.
Ravens wide receivers, I get it, but 100%. I also give them credit. I do this all the time when I'm playing golf, and I've missed 5-6 footers in a row. The next one I get to, I go, I can't. I'm not going to miss them all.
Right.
Like I got to make
accident. One of these, I'm going to end up. Yeah.
By accident.
It's weird how many rounds you never actually make one.
One's going in.
Really weird.
They're going to get one of these guys right.
You keep saying that. You keep saying that.
I think it's going to be this guy.
Do you buy into them as being a Super Bowl contender?
Sure. They got a really good quarterback. They have a very good defense.
Well, you just said he's not playing in December. I don't know. If
that remains to be seen. Sure. I mean, I think their schedule looks a little imposing.
I think it's the first time I've really thought about the schedule impact of it. This is a very difficult gauntlet to run, just of the travel.
And you have to see how the games play out. Like, will the league say to them, we'll ship you – here's what we're going to do. We're going to ship you to London.
Right.
But in exchange for that, you'll play San Francisco and Arizona
in
back-to-back
weeks, and you can just stay out there, yeah.
And then you'll have a bye.
And then it's a question of whether they'll do that,
and then you'll have a bye or something like that, right? Like, I think the league I mean, I know I used to do this when I was in soccer business. Like, as soon as the schedule came out, I picked through it so that I could call the commissioner and say, I can't believe you guys did this to us. Like, I can't believe you want us to lose this bad. And every coach in the league does that. Every coach in the NFL looks through the schedule and goes, well, here's where they got it out for us. How they expect us to do this? How they expect us to do that? There's always going to be a schedule that just falls into place like that, because you don't know 3 years from now what teams are going to be good and what teams aren't going to be good, but they're all set already. We have no one knew in 2020 or 2019 that this particular season coming up, right, that these teams, the Jacksonvilles of the world, were going to be better. These teams the Ravens are facing were all going to kind of just gel at the same time. That the 49ers look like they're going to probably be good, like that kind of thing. So if you're the league, I assume, though, you sit down and you put the schedule out and you then push it off to someone and say, okay, you're the arbiter of this. Look at this. Is this fair? Do you see anything in this that looks as if it's not fair? I think they do that with every team.
I think they attempt to do it, but I think sometimes all of the math that has to go into making these schedules almost forces. There is going to be something about the schedule we're going to look at and we're going to say that doesn't seem right.
Of course,
like that. It's because it's so impossible. It's an impossible puzzle to figure at this point.
But I think the inevitable part of it too is the teams that do go overseas. You owe them one. You owe them
in
one.
theory, I get that, but half the teams go overseas anymore. Like, how can you?
But you owe them one. You have to figure out a way. You have to be able to say to them, because what's in it for them?
But no. That's completely wrong. Every single one of these teams has wanted to go.
I don't think the Ravens want to go.
I don't think they wanted to go again. Well, it's been enough years.
I don't think they want to go.
I think it depends on who you're asking. the folks that are in the business department of the Ravens understand the value
but
of these trips.
But the team doesn't. The
I
coach
understand
and
the coach doesn't
the
wanna
coach
go,
and the
right.
GM,
I
they
get
don't
it.
care.
They don't.
They don't
That's
wanna
not the
go.
way this works. That's not the reason why these games exist. They don't
Right.
do these games to benefit the teams. They do these games because everybody understands
shirts.
they have to find the Baltimore Ravens have arguably the smallest market of any team in the NFL. They have a geofencing wise, they have a very small area that they can market
Right.
to. So if there's ever been a team that has needed to open up and try to find new markets, it's the Baltimore Ravens, right? Like from a business standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to York, I go to York, play golf all the time. It's all Eagles.
all of a sudden,
It's
it does not take
It's unbelievable.
It does
It's
not take
all
long at
Eagles
all.
and Penn State. Well, it should be Penn State.
Right, great point. Yeah,
mean-
they're a fine institution. Nothing bad has ever happened there.
But then when you go, 40 minutes south of here, it's 80% DC.
Well, it was anyway. Like we'll
Well,
see if they can get
but
all
if you
that
go
back.
once you get past Columbia, it's all
you say that, but
DC.
I've talked to more and more people in Montgomery County who are like, it has started to slide. It has
Okay.
That combined with Lamar Jackson
Right.
has slid young people.
And even when you get into Ocean City and Rehoboth,
in
it's
Ocean
a lot
City, it's as many Eagles
it's a
fans
lot
as
of
it is
Eagles.
anything. It's insane.
Right.
How many times you go to Ocean City?
there's Ravens stuff there, but it's also a
Yes.
lot of. You go this summer and you'll see Ravens towels and Eagles towels.
It's bonkers
Yeah.
how much of an Eagles fan base there is. You can't, and I get it. Most of those people are probably from Delaware and came down,
Right.
but it's wild.
So, yeah,
how
to your
many
point,
Eagles
it is
fans are
very
down there. They
Geofenced.
as a franchise from a business standpoint have needed this needed new markets, new revenue streams.
It's like when you go to D.C. and it's all Terps stuff.
Right, great point, because they're the University of D.C. That's a great.
Well, they're right there.
Well, they're right there. That's a great point. You say that like you're not a number one fan. You're the guy who goes to all the games. I haven't been to a game in years.
I went
I don't think I've been
5
back.
or 6.
I don't think I've been to a game since the pandemic.
I went 5 or 6 times.
I'm aware.
to see
You're-
Willsie's team.
Oh, Willsies? That's what we're going with now? Willsies? We're going to go down and see Hunter Dickinson next
Oh, by the
year.
way, thanks a lot to Ratfink Dallas Stars last night, you punks, for not winning in overtime.
Is that what you bet? They won like 100-2 or something
They
like
won
that,
like
didn't
6-3.
they? Yeah, it was a butt kicking.
Ratfinks.
They were up 5-1, and like you bet overtime specifically. You might have a problem, bro. I don't look, man. I don't like being the one to judge.
I
but
bet you 7-1. I
yeah,
don't make
you
a wager tonight.
100%. Well, you know what? I'll take that. I will take.
I'm locked
that.
in on the PGA next week.
Yeah.
I'm locked in, man. I think I got the ROM pick at the Masters. I think I got this one figured out next week.
Okay. You gonna
Well, I'm
tell
not
me?
telling
Oh,
you.
you're
No,
gonna
can't.
tease it at
Can't do that. Yeah,
drewsmorningdish.com.
drewsmorningdish.
Who would ever go there?
But I think I got something.
Today's show is brought to you by A.J. Michaels, expert and award-winning A.J. Michaels Heating, AC, Plumbing, and Home Performance will improve your home's energy efficiency and comfort levels. We have reached AC season. New rebates and discounts are available. More at ajmichaels.com. Birds snapped their 3-game funk last night, and the bats came to life just a little bit, just enough. Nice to see Gunnar Henderson get things going with a big hit, and then, of course, Adley Rodriguez, whoever that is. Adley Rutschman delivers a 2-run homer.
Sounds like he'd be a good player.
Yeah, right. I'd take him on my team if that's the case. Speaking of Rodriguez, Grayson Rodriguez gamed out an effort last night. Got a huge strikeout, obviously, to end the 5th inning. I don't think he was dominant necessarily, but against a really good offense. That was about what you could ask from Grayson Rodriguez, and then the bullpen comes through. The Felix Bautista thing is weird as hell. The results continue to still be good, but boy, the path to the results is not desirable. It is shaky.
It does something. I said this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Something doesn't look right with him. I don't know what. I just don't know what that is, other than to say, I mean, it is results driven, but like, every single batter is a challenge. It's a 3-2, 3 foul balls. Everything is a fight. I don't know. And again, you know how this goes. The teams are seeing him now. They're figuring him out a little bit.
Yeah, but
They're
I don't know
waiting.
how much. He's just not throwing strikes.
I know, but I'm saying I don't know if last year because of the newness and the speed, maybe the guys were swinging at pitches that maybe now they know.
Right.
Hey, don't swing at either one of the first 2 pitches. Leave him alone. And if he throws a strike, he throws a strike. Leave him alone because he's going to throw 7 or 8 pitches in this at bat if you just work it.
It's
something is weird with him.
Maybe,
though,
but also the fact that his velocity is down a little bit is concerning. Now, again, the results continue to be good. Like it's not like he's not getting the ultimate save. He's just taking a very adventurous path towards the save, and it's interesting because you're watching Yenny or Cano not have nearly as interesting path towards getting his job done. I know there was a lot of criticism of Brandon Hyde for pulling Cano when he pulled him last night because he gave up 1 base hit, and then he said, well, doesn't have it clearly.
He's broken.
It's got to go. But it also seemed to me like maybe he was protecting the idea of being able to pitch Cano again tonight, whereas if he throws 2 innings last night and more pitches than that, perhaps it becomes tricky.
I know people are all over Hyde about this, right? And I do understand when the dust settles in September, we forget this, that every game matters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every team coughs up 4 and wins 4 that they shouldn't have, right? Ryan McKenna drops that ball like a goof. Okay, we gave that game away. Some other guy in July will do that for Oakland or Minnesota, and we'll win 1. Like, they even out. But the games that you lose any time in April, when September rolls around, or May, when September rolls around and you're adding all the totals up,
they matter just as much.
They all matter. They're weighed exactly the same. So I get that people are, I don't want to say rabid, but a lot of people are all over Hyde about the use of these two, of Cano in particular and Batista. And I said this on, was it Saturday? Like, why? They're all running together.
When he pulled
was it
Baker,
Saturday and he didn't use Cano?
Right.
You're like, dude, what are you doing? What? He's sitting there waiting. He's going to come in and get you 2 outs. What are you doing? But I also will say that you have 125 games left, and you've got to navigate those. You have to navigate all of these games with that in mind. I know you want to win them all right now, and that's awesome. And you want to be 28-7 or whatever Tampa is, 28-8 or whatever they are. You want to be that. I get it, but you can't get to June. Remember the one year, and I think you and I were even on the air. Remember the one year when they were flying into like maybe the end of May, and then the bullpen just flatlined.
Yeah.
It was like
It was in
9
the midst
or
of, yes,
9
correct.
or 10.
Yeah.
It might have even been before Buck. Honestly, I think it was before Buck. It might have been in like a Dave Tremblay, Perlazzo thing where they were inexplicably rolling early in the season, and the bullpen was doing great. And then in like June, the bullpen just died.
Right.
And they won 64 games or whatever they won, right? And I know, the rosters have changed a little now, and you got the flexibility to move guys in and out. Perez, I think, might only have one. I think Perez might only have one option left. So that may be it for him.
Perez doesn't have an option.
No,
left.
none. Yeah, so
0.
So
it would have been the obvious answer.
You hold on to him, or he's gone, right?
Right.
So I do. This is why the manager makes the big bucks. But I'm also not 100% sure he's making all the calls as it relates to.
Well, I think he's making the calls when who's going into a game.
No.
I don't think that's a.
No, I'm saying he's not making the calls in terms of who he has at his disposal.
No, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I do understand that you have to think a little bit more long term than the fans think, which fans think I need to win this game right here tonight, right now, against the Braves. And you as the manager might be saying, if I do this with him 5 times in the next 4 weeks, which when I say if I do this, which is my knee-jerk reaction is to throw Cano in there right now and let him throw 20 pitches right now.
What's that going to cost me?
But if I can 5 times if 5 times in the next month, I can save 100 pitches with him. Even if I go 2-3 in those 5 games, those 100 pitches in August, I might go 4-0 or 5-1 in games like that. So I get it. I know people. It is a contrast because all the games matter. You want to stockpile as many wins as you can. But I'm telling you, based on the starting pitching that we have / don't have, these arms are going to be wasted by June.
Look, again, Tate and Gibbons getting...
And when they come back, when one of those two comes back, it's going to be huge. And if they both come back and they're healthy, it's going to be really huge.
Yes,
now,
it changes a lot of things.
You're going to lose Perez, and you're going to lose that Columbine guy or whatever his name is. I don't think they're...
Colomb. I don't know who they're going to lose. That's the awkward part. I
think he's teetering on the edge of showing his true colors. For sure.
Because of Saturday night?
No, I don't know. I think he was really good early on.
He was outstanding.
So much, I really do believe this, and it's funny that we're bringing this up because way before he went to spring training, I had breakfast with Gavin Sheets, and we were just talking baseball, and I was just asking him questions like about pitchers and all that. And he's like, "You have no idea how important it is to see the guy 3 times in a game."
Well, that's why we're not doing that.
No, right.
Yeah.
When you see the guy 3 times in a game, and he goes, and so because I was asking him about Batista, and if you remember, he faced Batista last year in Baltimore in the 9th inning of the game where what's his name hit the home run. Stowers hit the home run,
right.
rescued them,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and Sheets said, "I couldn't even see the ball," but he said, "But the more times you see those guys." And you see their arm angle, and you see how they release the ball, and you pick up on their cadence a little, the better you're prepared for it, right?
Sure.
And I think just from a relief pitching standpoint, the more of these guys you trot out, and I'm just going to use this number, I could be way off. If you've got 20 guys you can showcase during the season, that's way better than if you only have 12.
Well, okay. I mean, I hear you on that.
Right. You just shuffle them in and out. Now the problem is some of them don't have any options left.
Correct.
So you're going to lose one of them, maybe.
Right. Well, that's where they are with Voth and Perez right now.
I would way prefer to lose Perez over Voth, and I think Voth is okay, but he can also be the guy that the next time out when Rodriguez gives up 4 runs in an inning and a third, you can throw Voth in there, and he can throw 50 pitches.
Well, they brought up Drew Rom, so I don't know I don't know what the thought process is with Drew Rom. I have no idea. It was very weird to me that they brought up Drew Rom yesterday. Like to say
who went down, Aiken?
Yeah, but we expected Aiken to be one of the. We thought that Aiken would be one of the guys that would go when Tate and Gibbons got here, right? We assumed he was always going to be on the chopping
probably
block.
Has.
Oh, I think it was his last option.
That was it for Aiken?
His last option, yeah.
But
I think that Aiken's more of the who cares at this point. Like I don't think they even think of him as highly as they do Voth, to be honest with you at this point. So
clearly they don't. If they just wasted an option on him that reduces him now to 0.
Yeah, I just don't think they're all that worried about it. I don't think.
Well, what they're not worried about is that he's not going to get picked up.
Yeah,
right. Oh, you mean if he?
Or I think they would say even if he does, we'll live. Like we can just find somebody else's Keegan Aiken. I think they've accepted.
They did the Colin Bay guy
or Austin Voth, right?
Right.
That's sort of what they feel that they can do there.
I'm very worried over the long haul. I'm still very bullish on them. I'm not changing, but I am a little worried that I think they could flatline in June or July with the bullpen.
Well,
they got to keep
the
getting
bullpen concerns me
far.
Starting. Yeah, that it's the starting pitching.
They got to keep getting decent starting pitching.
We'll
and I wrote about
this
this today with Rodriguez today. Like, I didn't, but I had someone wrote it, but I helped edit it. But
what?
The story on my website was written by somebody. It was written by a guest writer today, a guy that wanted to write baseball for me, and he did a good job. But.
Just a
guy.
He wrote,
his name's Brett.
This guy was walking down the street the other day. He was like, what I've always dreamed of doing.
His name is Brett Obrecht. He's a good guy. But he wrote about Grayson Rodriguez. And his point was, when do you start worrying about his innings? He's thrown 25 innings.
I would have been planning on it at the beginning of the year.
Right. Well, but what are they doing? I think he brought up a good point.
Yes.
Like, what are they doing about it? What's the number? Is the number 100 innings? Is it pitch count? Is it 125 innings? Because if it's 100 innings, let's just pretend he's only thrown 100 innings once in his entire career in the minor leagues 3 or 4 years ago. He threw 4 innings last year. 4 the whole year. If it's 100 innings, his starts are going to be expired by the All-Star break.
Potentially. I If they
He's
just
made
throw
f-
him out every
he's
fifth
ma-
day, but I don't expect that that's going to be the
Well,
case.
that's
It
the
was
point.
sort of my question when I brought up.
Are they going to stagger him?
When-
Remember when the Braves did this, where the Braves went with a couple of guys, they would skip a start every third start.
Yes.
I think they're going to have to look at that
That's-
if they want him to be around
Well, and
September.
that was sort of my question when we were sitting here yesterday, and Griffin's like, "Oh, they called up Drew Rahm." I said, "Why? Why would they call up Drew Rahm?" And the answer from the internet was, "Well, he's just here for a couple days. He might not even pitch. He's just here to be the emergency if you need a long man bullpen guy for a little while." And I said, "Well, why would you use an option for that? Like, why? How does that make sense? Why would it make sense to you to go with Drew Rahm in that role instead of just sticking with Keegan Aiken in that role?" So it made me think, are they planning on skipping a Grayson start? Is the plan that we've got to start thinking about this now, and we need to skip a start at some point? And I don't know what the plan is because they also have an off day this week. They don't play on Thursday, so they could skip a I guess do they have an off day on Monday? They play on Monday, don't they? Yeah, they play all 4 next week, so they wouldn't be able to do that. Let me take that back. They wouldn't be able to skip a Grayson start because they have all 4 against the Angels using the off day. So they would have to use somebody to pitch. So Drew Rahm's presence makes way more sense to me if it's in the moment he's an emergency, long man in the bullpen.
Right, like maybe we see him tonight, and then then his
if
next appearance is to
necessary,
start.
right. If necessary, you use him that way.
Right.
But what he's really here to do is to start so that Grayson doesn't the next time through the rotation. Because I get it. You can say, hey, you got 3 options with these guys. And an option is just for the year, right? Like it's not send up, come back down. You get 3 years where it just counts as one option. So it's not the end of the world if you use an option because you're essentially saying we think at some point this year we're going to bring Drew Rahm up anyway and might have ended up sending him back down. So who cares that we're doing it now? But is it necessary to do it that way? To me, it's very confusing that you made that move and made me think that the plan is we got to start thinking about when we might skip a start for Grayson Rodriguez. I always found it odd that they weren't just beginning him with 3-inning starts and saying you're going to pitch 3 innings for the foreseeable future because, as I've said a million times, the disaster scenario is the one where Grayson Rodriguez is pitching well in July. You didn't go out and acquire a big-name pitcher at the deadline. You're in the race, and then you shut him down on Labor Day. That is poisonous to this fan base. I mean, that is...
If they just say on August 28th, okay, that's Grayson's last start.
Correct. I mean, it is a nightmare scenario for this fan base for you to say, you still haven't extended anybody, you still haven't you haven't done anything, and on top of all of that, when you're a game out of a wild card spot on Labor Day, by the way, that's
one of your 5 pitchers can't.
Correct. That's the last you're going to see a Grayson Rodriguez for the year. Just an absolute nightmare. So they should have been planning on that for some time.
Well, it's going to definitely be an issue, right?
It's going to 100%. It's going to be an issue, and it's weird that they don't. There's no obligation for the Orioles to explain what the plan is, and their answer might very well be.
I agree with that.
And as this has been brought up to me a couple times, it might very well be they're not dealing with it until they have to, because what they don't want to do is make a plan, start doing these things, and then Grayson Rodriguez gets hurt and ends up being shut down for a month anyway. And so why were they messing around with this thing when that problem was going to be solved by something else that could come up?
And it very well could.
Bordick talks to me about this when we had Bordick on yesterday. He was like, "Stop. We worry too much about what's the plan for Colton Cowser." Well, their plan might very well be Colton Cowser will be here the moment one of these guys gets hurt.
Right.
That's the way it's going to go.
And they will.
And that's, it's baseball. These guys are going to get, the idea that all of them are going to be here for 162 games, it's nonsense. Right. Somebody's going to get hurt, and that's going to be the path. And then if he gets up here and shows that he belongs here, then they'll deal with the problem when they deal with it. They'll figure it out then. But they don't have to force something right now because it's not necessary. That's the argument that baseball people make all the time. It's all the time you hear these things tend to solve themselves.
Right. Yeah, we got 162 games. Somebody's look at Urias. He's out right now, right?
Yep. We'll see. All right. Drew's here. Drew'sMorningDish.com. Fairways and Greens 105.7 The Fan. It is baseball season. If you're like Drew and every now and then you like to make a wager.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I would encourage you to do is wander over to PressBoxOnline.com/offers and sign up to get 5 second chance bets from PointsBet when you deposit and bet your first $50. That's PressBoxOnline.com pressbox.online/offers is the way to go. When we come back in, we will – you know what? I do want to – one other thing about the schedule this week that caught me completely off guard that I haven't talked about at all. Will you be okay if there are a bunch more Ravens games on Fox instead of CBS this season? We'll talk about that, and we'll get into Would You Rather Wednesday. No! That's coming up next. Glen Clark Radio.
What air conditioning company can save 50% of your energy cost and qualify you for up to $7,500 in rebates? A.J. Michaels. We do more, we do it better for less. In Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the pipeline of talent still to come for the Orioles, diving in on last year's #1 pick Jackson Holliday and other top prospects like Colton Cowser, Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, and more. Also inside, Todd Karpovich profiles Orioles pitcher Kyle Gibson, and Bo Smolka breaks down what progress would mean for the team's 2022 draft picks in their second pro season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
The All-America Senior Game powered by New Balance will be back at Johns Hopkins Homewood Field on July 29th. The most decorated girls and boys lacrosse players in the country have been invited to play in what is the premier lacrosse event of the year. Every college coach wants their players in this game, and if you dream of being in this game, you start by trying out for one of your regional underclass teams this summer. The best against the best. Get your tickets now at allamericalacrosse.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Costas Inn has been serving up delicious steamed crabs for over 50 years. Lately, the crabs you want to eat when the weather warms up have gotten harder and harder to get. So get your crab eating game plan in place. Make sure to stick this number on your fridge, 410-477-1975. Call ahead and reserve the size crabs you want. You may be able to walk in, but you may also be disappointed at the size or maybe even get shut out altogether. So call ahead, have a plan, and then arrive on your crab eating vacation. Costas also has delicious crab soup and crab cakes. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard. For more than 50 years, they've been satisfying crab lovers in and around Baltimore.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Check out PressBoxOnline.com every day to find daily winners and betting advice from Jeremy Kahn. And if you want some advice about life decisions that you probably shouldn't make, here's Glen Clark.
Right, back in here on GCR, Drew Forrester, Drew'sMorningDish.com.
Is that Paul?
Yeah, it's Paul.
Don't you guys get new commercials?
It's the rejoiner.
Get rid of that guy.
You know, what is your beef with Paul? It's so weird, the people that you fight with, you choose that you hate. Like, I understand you hating Proctor. That always made sense.
That was
like,
a good bit, too.
Yeah, like I like that one. But Paul, what did he do to
What did
you?
Paul do?
Right?
Poor Paul.
Hey, if you've not seen all of the area's minor league baseball teams, we got a chance for you to go check them out this summer. Right now, you go to PressBox
I was going
Online.
to say tonight.
All of them?
No, I was going to say, you got a chance tonight, go down to Camden Yards.
Stop.
That was the old days.
Stop.
That would have been good shtick in the
Right.
old days.
Yes, once upon a time, that would have been good. No, they're the two best teams in baseball now, Drew.
Which is bizarre.
You can win 4 tickets to each of the local minor league baseball teams, plus an Easy Pass Maryland on-the-go transponder preloaded with $25, and a $50 gas card from Royal Farms to help you get around. You must be 18 or older in order to enter, and the sweepstakes ends June 14th. Get over to PressBoxOnline.com/contests in order to sign up. So,
Shohei's pitching here Monday night.
we actually had our crack research team on that earlier in the week. I had Griffin mapping it out.
Well, it's cool now because if Drew Rom is going to make a start, I think it would be. I think the way it lines
That would be
up,
Grayson's next
yeah, I
start
think
would
it
be Monday.
Rom versus Otani.
That would work.
Which is why I think we should see Rom tonight, because he hasn't pitched since May 3rd now.
So, yeah, you would want to make sure that he's...
they
Well, but we also don't know if that's the plan at all,
Right.
or if they
No.
just brought him up for whatever reason for funsies, and they're going to keep going with Grayson Rodriguez. But the point being, yes, we believe that Shohei Ohtani will pitch on Monday night in Baltimore, and that should lead to a few more people going down to the ballpark on a Monday night.
You hope.
You'd like
This
to
has
think.
been
I will say that, like,
dismal. Did you see Cunningham got in a fight with
yeah,
everybody?
well, I
the
saw
other
that
night?
you wrote about it on your website
Right.
because I made the mistake of wandering over there.
He got mad and pulled it off.
It's funny that the Rays aren't more of a draw because they're the best team in baseball, but I also kind of get it. They're the least marketable team in baseball history. And this is when I had that conversation about being the next Rays. Part of it was referencing this. That, like, yes, the idea of being competitive sounds good, but at the same time, when you're constantly moving on from your players and trying to find maximum value and acquire the next guy and do that bit, it makes it more difficult to identify and develop who the superstars are. If you're a real baseball fan, if you love and desperately care about baseball, you understand Randy Arozarena and Wander Franco are legitimate stars. Like, you get that.
Sure.
But the casual sports fan, the person who's not a hardcore baseball fan, doesn't understand that at all. And yet they know Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani are stars.
Right, of course.
So despite the fact that the Angels are not nearly as good as the Rays are, I always expected there would be better crowds next week when the Angels come to town than there would be this week for the Rays, because the Rays are the least marketable franchise, other than maybe the Oakland Athletics, who have a new marketing idea. And I got to be honest, I don't think it's going well.
Which is, hey, we're moving to Vegas.
No. Well, there's that.
Come on out.
And there's the
we have 8 wins?
Well, no, the idea of maybe we'll have, you never know what our announcers might say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tune in, because you just never know what it is that they might say during a broadcast.
Are you 100% sure
he
said
definitely
that?
said. He's 100% what he said. Now, whatever. After that, there's room, I think, for warranted discussion about, I think everybody believes it was a mistake. I don't think there's anybody on the planet who thinks
But
that
you don't think he might have said...
No, I listened to it.
No, look, hear me out. You don't think he said that word, but... No, wait, well, let me rephrase it. You don't think he tried to say Negro, but it came out as N-I?
No, it did not sound like that.
Okay.
It didn't sound like that. But again, I'm in a weird place with that one. I don't think I'm the person.
Why would you say that?
Drew, I understand.
Like, what are you thinking about?
All right, correct. You want to say something about Bob Huggins?
No, why would you say that?
There's few people that I associate more with Bob
I would
Huggins
almost
than
say,
you,
like, there's no way to, like, endorse isn't even the right word. There's no way to even remotely say to either one of those moments, like, that's understandable. There's no way to say that. But the Huggins one is, like, unbelievable because he was just having a casual conversation and they wound him up and he just said that. I mean, it was totally...
Oh, and he said it twice to make sure you knew it wasn't a mistake.
Right.
It wasn't an error.
Right.
He's just garbage.
Like, what are you talking about? He's got to get fired, right? And I am not a fire people kind of guy. I'm really not. Like that Oakland A's guy, I don't know what to make of that. He's a 20-year, and then Huggins has a long-standing career too. A lot of it not very decorated, but
he's won a lot of games.
I'm not a fire over. I once had a producer for me drop the F-bomb on the air.
We brought it up yesterday.
Right.
The problem is, and this is what I said when we had about what happened that morning. And this is an important thing because people say the wrong thing all the time. What happened that morning is I said something that I do say regularly. You caught me in my moment of weakness. I said something
led you right there.
That I do say regularly.
Right.
I regularly say, we don't need an effing whatever.
Right,
I say that all the time. That's the real problem with these scenarios is with Bob Huggins, there's no you just got a glimpse into what life is like around Bob Huggins. You don't casually bring that up in an interview unless it's very commonly used. That's the
where
way
it just rolls off your tongue.
Correct.
And you forget that you're on the radio.
There is absolutely zero chance for him to be able to say.
But he's got to lose his job over this, right?
The easy thing for somebody to say, if there's ever a place where, maybe they don't care, it's West Virginia, right?
Hey, Bob, way to go.
If
You wound them up, didn't you, Bob?
100%. Like, that's the easy thing to say.
Right.
But yes, at some point, someone within, that's a state government official. That's probably the highest paid person in the state.
Oh, by far.
Right?
Right.
At some point, someone there has to say, guys, I get it. We're actually going to end up pissing off our fan base because they're kind of back asswards.
You can't say that.
But we can't have that. Like, someone has to be capable of stepping in and saying, no, if we don't know that we have to say you're fired, then we
So
none
the
of us should have
interesting thing
jobs.
is, and I'm cheating a little because I did see this online, so I'm going to borrow this topic, but it is interesting. What would the reaction have been if he would have said Catholic gays? What would the reaction have been?
It wouldn't have been good, but I don't know that it would have been
But the content of it was still going to it revolved around a discussion about artificial penises.
right.
And he then segued that into, which is not good, right? But he segued that into.
But I'm trying to figure out what the
So is it the topic that he created or the slur?
Well, I think there's a few things there that are problematic.
But which one is the one that puts him over the top? And we know what it is.
it's the word.
It's
I
the
don't
slur.
disagree with that.
Sure.
But I also think that there would be a handful. I think that there were a lot of Catholic people that were quite bothered by the idea of you being disparaging to Catholics.
That's my point.
Like, I think
Which one?
Well, the one that makes it fireable is you just can't use that
Right.
word.
No, I
but
get
there
it.
would have definitely been plenty of people, your friends in the Catholic faith, there would have been plenty of people that would have said, dude, by the way, we're not okay with that either.
Right.
Like, we're not just giving it a pass. Like, it's
I have no idea what he was thinking about. I do, but the Oakland A's guy, I just don't know what to think about.
Well, I don't have the answer, but I also am willing to say that I'm not the person that maybe should be making the decision in that situation. That perhaps I should just be.
Is
listening.
he back yet or no?
No, he's not back
No.
yet. No. I at this point I'd be surprised.
What he should have done as soon as he said it, the
Mm-hmm.
minute he said it, he should have said, and that's a home run by Castellanos.
100%.
It's
Oh,
4-0.
he had a huge game last night, didn't he?
And it's 4-0.
Yeah,
Of course he did.
Castellanos
Of
had a
course.
home run.
And
That's
it's
right.
4-0.
It's the easiest bet you can ever. Whenever somebody has to apologize for something that they said, go ahead and bet a huge game from Nick Castellanos.
Right.
And I think it wasn't just a home run. I want
Right.
to say he went like 3 for 4
Right.
last
I
night.
think he definitely had multiple hits.
I think it was a.
That's what he should have said.
massive
As soon as
game.
he said it, who was next to him? Dallas Braden,
Yeah, Dallas Braden was next to him.
who looks like the Unabomber. Like, get
If you were wrong, I would tell you were wrong.
right. Oh.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah, he went 3 for 4. He had 2 RBIs, a home run.
Of course he did. He went through. Nick Castellanos went 3 for 4 with a home run last
There it
night.
is.
Because of course he did.
Right.
It's got to be the greatest news for Castellanos. Anytime he sees one of these stories
No doubt.
pop up on the internet, he's like, "Hell yeah, man! Big night for me coming." It's unbelievable.
I know.
It never fails. All right, let's play Would You Rather Wednesday. Would you rather Wednesday? Oh, the football thing. There could be more Ravens games on Fox this year.
Oh,
You okay with that?
I don't care, but I mean, it is going to be weird.
It's not just that it's
I
weird
don't
to
like
me.
Fox.
I don't
I think
either.
Fox is terrible.
And for years, I
For
tried to
TV.
figure out, and I would ask this constantly on Twitter, is it just because we're used to CBS, so that when it's on Fox, we're just not used to it, and we don't like things that are new or different? But the best way I can define it is, because the Ravens have largely been good, we have been guaranteed that at least half of the games would be called by Jim Nantz, Ian Eagle, and Kevin Harlan. I mean, it's insane. It's embarrassing how fortunate that we've been.
Be careful putting the other two with in the same.
Well,
same
with all due
same
respect,
sentence.
he's the
Just
third
be
of the
careful.
3. Like, I love him, but we're comparing him to the
I'll
2
be
guys
seeing
that are
my-
the
I'll be
absolute.
seeing myself out right
I
now.
understand that. I know it's going to offend you.
What's wrong with you?
But the other 2 guys are the 2 absolute best at what they do in the business. Like, it's insane how good those guys are.
Watch yourself.
But I'm still putting him in the group. I'm still including him in this
Keep trying.
conversation.
You better get an
Also,
apology ready. And there's
un-
Castellanos with a 2-run homer.
And that'll make it a 4-0 game. That's the part to me that's infuriating, is the idea that now it's going to be less Kevin Harlan, Ian Eagle. Like, now it's going to be, and I'm sure, look, they are fine broadcasters that
I
Fox
can
has.
see
I
it
think.
now.
What?
I can just hear him now. I can hear him now.
Oh, Brenneman?
No.
Who?
Nope.
Who? What are we doing?
Welcome to Baltimore. I'm Jerry Coleman. And the Ravens. No.
I don't think that's who's going to get the Fox assignment.
How funny would that be?
It'd be amazing if it was.
It'd be must-watch
My
TV.
God. It would be incredible if that was the case.
I love
Oh,
it.
by the way, did you see the thing? Oh, before we move on from Bob Huggins, I got to drop this on them yesterday. Did you see what was unearthed?
No.
Oh, my God. Hang on. I have to pull up. It's the
No.
most amazing.
It's not better than the kid nutmegging the police officer in the hall.
Stop. When you see it, you are going to be so convinced it has to be fake. There's no way you're going to believe that this is real. I saw this tweet pop up immediately after the Bob Huggins thing, and I said, "There's no chance that this is legitimate. This has to be."
And it is?
Because everything's AI now, right?
Right,
Like
sure.
everything's fake. So when you see these things, you say, "Okay, I better not share this because there's no way it's actually real." It's very much real. It's impossible how real it is. Hang on a second. I got it. The original tweet disappeared, and I got to find it somewhere else.
Nothing's better than the kid coming out of the jail cell and nutmegging the police officer.
It's good. I'm not arguing with that, It's good.
And they throw him back in?
What if I told you that in 2020, in the fall of 2020,
Okay, so pandemic, post-pandemic.
Bob Huggins brought someone in to speak to the team.
Okay.
Now, think about who he might have brought in to speak to the team.
Okay, COVID.
Just
Get
think
ready
about
to navigate COVID.
Right. Like, who would be someone that would make sense for him to have brought in to have spoken to the team?
Okay. Bobby Knight.
Bobby Knight, okay. That would have been it would have been controversial, given Bobby Knight's kind of a curmudgeon and
But Bobby Knight
strangled a guy, threw a chair at another
Bobby
guy.
Knight's coming in to talk about basketball.
Right,
John Wooden. Oh, John Wooden's dead.
That would make sense.
But that would have been a really good
that would have been
get.
a really good get.
Right,
I
hell
agree
of a
with
get.
that.
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson, sure. He's found some controversy recently, right? Like,
Right.
Would have made sense. Why don't you check out this tweet that was unearthed from Coach Hugs on Twitter about a guest that he invited in to speak to the team in 2020. Why don't you go ahead and read that tweet? Why don't you just go ahead and take a look at that? Go ahead.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Yep. 2020. Yeah.
What is...
It's impossible. When I read it, I said, this is fake.
Refresh my memory again about Brenneman.
It happened in 2020.
But refresh my memory on what he did.
He's the guy. There's a deep drive from Castellanos.
But no, I know that.
He's the guy.
But what did he say that got it? He did something.
Oh, he said it was
he did something that got him
the F capital of. No, he was talking about going to. They were playing Kansas City, but they was talking about an upcoming game in San Francisco, and he said it's the F capital of the world.
Right. Oh yeah, and it was Mike was on.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't fruit, by the way.
No, it certainly wasn't. It's the same one that his buddy Bob Huggins.
Oh my God.
Felt so comfortable throwing around.
Yeah, that one is kind of hard to.
I want to thank my friend Tom Brenneman for traveling over to Morgantown and speaking to the team. His message isn't one of excuses, but one of accountability. It takes courage to confront, and you know what? I agree. It takes courage to confront mistakes.
Bob, you're going to be
head-on.
doing the same thing
And I
here,
believe
boss.
our guys learned from that. Oh my God! That, by the way, is the greatest. Like I can't believe that exists, and it's to me the most important moment in internet history. That they immediately
dig
in
it
the
up?
aftermath.
Fine.
I
Someone's
mean,
going to find it.
immediately.
They're always going to find it.
It's unbelievable.
It's always going to. The internet will always beat you.
All right. Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to you by our friends at Birdland Sports. They have you seen this shirt? I'm worried that you're probably out on it at this point, but this is my favorite shirt that Josh has done so far.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to order one this week. That was the new one that he did this week. I
little
really
Ted Lasso,
like the Ted
I like
Lasso
that.
Believe themed. It works perfectly. It's available right now at birdlandsports.com.
By the way, I called the whole thing with Trent, the newspaper guy, being gay. Remember?
Okay. What does that?
I called that.
Okay. What do you?
Call that on your show.
But what do you want? I don't understand.
I
What do
just
you
want
want?
you to-
All right. Okay.
I called that on your show.
Congratulations, bud. There you go. Look at that.
Should be good this week. I mean, we had the breakup
Yep.
between the girls.
Yep. Got a lot going on. Who does she end up back with? Which one of them does she end up back with?
Jamie.
Jamie?
Jamie
I think
Todd.
I think it's Jamie too.
Yeah.
I think
I think it's Jamie, and I think
Or Ted.
Roy.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
No. Ted's going to go back with his
His ex-wife.
Yeah,
That became
you know that.
that scene
know
at
that.
the end of the last episode.
You know that.
You know what really we talked about it on the show the other day. It drives me nuts how ham-fisted the Hey Jude scene was, and yet how perfect it was. Like, it was completely ham-fisted, and yet I was crying anyway. Like, it was. I'm rolling my eyes through the tears.
Right. She'll go back with Jamie, and Roy will give it his blessing.
Right. Correct. He'll be happy for them.
Right.
100%.
Which
I
would
agree.
be, and he'll probably say, "This is the first time I've ever been happy in my life."
He'll approach and give Jamie a hug.
Okay.
That will be a major.
You know
plot
they're
point.
winning. You know they're beating West Ham to
I don't-
relegate West Ham or something,
Yeah,
right?
well, they can't relegate West Ham
But-
at this point.
but
But like,
you-
yes,
they're-
it'll
they're-
be of some significance
they're
at the end
gonna
of the
beat-
season. But as I said all along, it will lead to Nate replacing Ted as the Richmond manager. moving
AFC
forward.
Richmond. Gotcha.
Yes. Like, Nate will have his moment where he realizes how evil what's-his-face is.
Right. Rupert.
Thank you. And that will lead to him leaving and rejoining the gang, and everything will happen. That's the way it's going to go.
Football is life.
Anyway, you can win that shirt from BirdlandSports.com just by participating in Would You Rather Wednesday today. Get your responses in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. Number 1.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a free flight, hotel, and game ticket for the Ravens game in London.
Okay. No thanks.
But the game is going to go exactly the same way as the last one.
47-7 or whatever.
44-7, I believe it was. Or you pay your $6,000 for your trip package, and they win by a final score of 6-3.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
You're going to pay for everything, and they get beat.
I'm going to pay for your. So you still have to pay for your
gonna
food, or
but you're going to pay for everything.
I'm going to pay
and
for
they
all
lose,
the.
Yeah, I'll
and,
take that.
And they lose 44-7.
I couldn't care less. Give me the
Okay.
free trip.
Oh yeah,
For sure. If it's one game, who cares?
Griffin.
The second option was they win 6-3.
They win 6-3.
But I pay for.
You
everything.
paid for the trip. And they win.
Man,
but it's 6-3.
Come on.
I mean,
This
yeah,
is such a no-brainer.
It probably should be a no-brainer, but I mean, winning would be nice.
Oh,
Losing to the
God.
Titans,
Losing 44-7.
Who
In the
cares? But lose 7-6
this
or 44-7.
This is the moment.
It would
they're
mean-
winning in the other scenario.
Oh,
Drew.
yeah, who
It would
cares?
mean-
win the game.
Free. It's free. It's free.
It would mean something really bad had to have happened, like Lamar's hurt or something.
Well,
and
that
could be
never
worse.
happens.
Well, no, as the game's October, he's playing. So
There's our guy.
Well, how are they
There he
going
is.
to lose 44-7 then?
There he is.
They're not
It's
going to
all
lose
good.
because they're not going to lose 44-7
All
with Lamar. on
Give
the
an
field.
answer.
I guess all expenses
All right.
paid.
All right,
Trip.
very good.
loser you are.
Would you rather? Orioles starting pitching continues to be just as good as they've been for the last 5 games, but the offense continues to be as hit or miss as they've been for the last 5 games, or the offense reverts back to what we saw at the beginning of the season, but the starting pitching also reverts back to being pretty rough.
Got to have the pitching. Pitching.
No,
All right.
if the way the offense was playing, they were never out of a single game, and I think I'd rather have the offense be
Good.
one
You
of
can
the
have
top
the offense,
5.
and you guys will be 40-50 on August 1st.
The pitching was good, and they lost 3-0.
Gotta have pitching because for the long term of the season.
I hate saying it because it's boring as sin, but I think you're right in the scenario. I
You
think
got the pitching is the bats and the hitters.
well, hang on.
It ebbs and flows.
This is where damn, I'm going to do this. This is where you have to judge how important you think this season is, and what's more important: the guys that are
very
here,
important.
the pitchers that are here. How many of them are you sure are definitely part of the long-term answer?
3 at least.
Are you sure?
Sure.
I mean, I'm not nearly as convinced of that as you are. I think there's one that's here that's certain to be a part of it, and I think that everybody else is kind of a
Kramer's
crapshoot.
going to be here next year.
yeah.
He's going to be here next year.
I mean, if he pitches like he did on Friday night, yeah. If he pitches like he did in basically every other start this season.
That was a hell of a trade we got for him.
Correct. Manny Machado for Dean Kramer, straight up.
Who'd
Straight
have
up.
thunk it?
Yeah, right. The Orioles won
Who'da
that
thunk
trade.
it, right.
Just as we all thought in the
Man,
moment.
he's on like his 3rd team since
Yeah,
then or
right?
something.
Yeah,
Right.
didn't even win a World Series
Right.
in L.A. Losers.
Right.
We got Dean Kramer.
Right.
And number 3, I know this is imagine you've got a normal job.
Okay.
Your boss offers you. Oh, are you familiar with the story of the Wagyu steak sandwich from the F1 Miami race this weekend? This is some guy, and again, you got to question it because he's got a blue check mark, and now if you've got a blue check mark, I have to assume that you've your nonsense.
Right.
But some guy said he went to the F1 race in Miami, and he ordered a $40 Wagyu steaks, $42 Wagyu steak sandwich.
It's probably good.
And that was what
It was
he
just
got.
a ham sandwich.
That was what he was handed. That was the sandwich that showed up for his $42. Yes, to Griffin's point, it's a ham sandwich, and appears to be nothing but a ham. It looks very much like a Fire Festival sandwich. Just replace the government cheese for a couple of slices of ham. That's what it appears to be. So, your boss offers you the chance to have the entire summer off, Memorial Day to Labor Day, if you eat nothing but that sandwich for lunch and dinner every day. Or I'll see you guys at work on Tuesday.
Yeah, what the hell? You only live once.
You're going to eat that stupid sandwich?
I got off Memorial Day.
What the hell is the point of having the summer off if that's what you're eating? What is the point?
I'll sneak something.
Nope. You got to go to jail. You're trying to.
Well, I'm not doing that then.
Yeah, all right.
All right. I'll see it work.
Yeah, you see it work on Tuesday.
And you get paid throughout the summer?
Yeah, you get paid vacation if you just eat the sandwich.
I can
all
suck
summer
it
long.
up, I think.
Okay, that'll make one of us.
That's what I ate
Not
throughout
the
elementary
rest of
school, ham
Yeah,
sandwiches.
right,
You
true.
know?
Yeah, it's true. All right, what's going on with you?
That's it. Just fired up here, getting ready for the college lacrosse stuff to happen.
That's what you're fired up for? The college lacrosse stuff to happen.
No, pump up.
When you start talking, do you know what's about to come out?
No,
or
but no, I'm
you
like,
just it's an adventure for you too.
I am like
you're
Bob.
excited to find out
I
what
am
it
like
is.
Bob Huggins.
Yeah. Let's maybe
in
not
that-
do that.
in that regard,
Let's
yeah.
maybe not.
Nope, everything's good. You know, Coward Hall Golf rolling in the playoffs next week, and
Can I bet, or is that?
no, you don't want to bet on the high school golf. Trust me.
Are you sure?
No,
All right.
you never know from shot to shot.
But you would give me the inside information.
You
if-
never know from shot to shot
Oh,
what might happen.
Okay, fair enough.
And get ready for the PGA, man. Second major of the year. I think I got.
Is that working? Then moving it to May to people.
It
like-
is against my better judgment. Yes, it is
Okay.
working.
All right.
It is working. You know, particularly now that they've moved the FedEx Cup into August, created a little bit more of a April, May, June, July, August.
I feel like maybe it's working because August actually worked for me because there was nothing else going on
Right.
that I cared about.
Right.
Now the NBA playoffs are still going
and they're
on.
trying. Right.
I won't.
They're trying to get as far away too from football as they can.
I
right?
got that,
Yeah.
but like I don't care about the August football.
I
It's
think I got an upset winner next week.
oh yeah,
A little bit of an upset.
in the XFL championship. Who you
No,
picking?
no, PGA.
Oh,
maybe an upset.
Well, he's due.
Yeah, he is due for
It's
sure.
it's his time. You know what? I'll wait till next week. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want
to
to
spoil it.
I don't want to spoil.
Right.
I got a pick for you for the PGA Championship.
I
I'm
bet you
I'm
do.
looking forward to that. Should I call in this week
No,
in order to
next week.
next week?
Yeah, save
Well, that's
it-
weird because you
save
just
it-
told me
Save it for next
you're not
week.
doing a PGA
But
show.
I thought you meant next Wednesday. Save it for
No,
next
no.
Wednesday.
I'll host the show on Wednesday. I mean,
Gotcha.
your show. I assume
No, I'm good on my show.
you want me
I only
to-
have an hour.
I-
I got 44
Well,
minutes.
yeah, but I assume that you want me to call in and make my pick.
No.
I
I know who
assume-
your pick is,
Well,
and I'll give it for you.
I tell you what. On Sunday,
yeah.
we can do a little crosstalk.
If you
maybe
see
on
Tap
Sunday.
It Trice, by the way, punch him in the face for me.
Really worked up about Tap It Trice. I think you get arrested for that these
Yeah.
days. I think that's the case. All right, buddy.
All right.
It's Drew
See you,
Forrester,
boys.
Drew'sMorningDish.com. Appreciate him stopping in and hanging out with us this morning. Today's show is also brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. We come back in. Speaking of the lacrosse thing coming up, Brett Makar, who was the number 3 pick in the PLL draft last night, star Maryland defenseman, he's going to join us. We're going to talk to him about their opener in the tournament against Army on Saturday night as they try to defend their title. That's next. It's Glen Clark Radio. Are you a diehard O's fan looking for the perfect way to show your team spirit? Look no further than Birdland Sports. Birdland Sports is a small business run by fans for fans. They offer a wide variety of unofficial O's merchandise, from the Birds Are Coming tees to player cartoon shirts and more. And the best part, their prices are more affordable than the big guys. So head to birdlandsports.com and grab your gear today. Show your support for the Birds with Birdland Sports.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the pipeline of talent still to come for the Orioles, diving in on last year's #1 pick Jackson Holliday and other top prospects like Colton Cowser, Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, and more. Also inside, Todd Karpovich profiles Orioles pitcher Kyle Gibson, and Bo Smolka breaks down what progress would mean for the team's 2022 draft picks in their second pro season. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Hartford Community College in Bel Air, Maryland, along with the National Junior College Athletic Association's Region 20, will host the 2023 NJCAA Men's Lacrosse National Championship May 13th and 14th at Hartford Sports Complex, 401 Thomas Run Road in Bel Air. Semifinals are on Saturday, May 13th. The National Championship is Sunday, May 14th. Catch the action for $10 each day. Tickets will be available in advance or at the gate on game day. Qualifying teams will be announced.
What air conditioning company can save 50% of your energy cost and qualify you for up to $7,500 in rebates? AJ Michaels. We do more, we do it better for less. In Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
If you miss anything on the show, don't forget that you can watch full episodes at youtube.com/pressboxonline, and you can download podcasts on Apple, iTunes, Amazon, and Grindr. Wait, did I say Grindr? I don't think that you would find it on Grindr. Not that I know it's on Grindr or anything, I swear. On second thought, you know what? I don't care what you think. Here's Glenn.
If you missed it earlier on in the week, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson got together. They're going to be doing that every Monday at 6 o'clock, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. You'll be able to see it later, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. But every Monday, Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson talking baseball all season long. You will want to make sure that you are checking that out. Continue to get me your responses for Would You Rather Wednesday at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio are the best ways to get in. A few responses that have come in. John from Little Rock says the sandwich looks delicious. You are a psychopath. You're
this
a
is
psychopath.
What he does. Isn't this what he does for everything?
He is. I don't understand, John, because I appreciate his opinion.
Can't wait for the mayo, pepper.
Like, I see the things that he eats, like on his Instagram, and I'm like, that looks amazing, right? Like, he looks like he has great taste, and then he says something like this, and I say, hey, John, I don't understand you. I just don't understand you at all. Split on the London thing, by the way. Everybody is very split on which is the correct answer to this question, because, yes, you're saying, well, it's a free trip to London, right? But, like, yeah, a free trip to London to watch your team get pantsed, like, that doesn't sound fun. And, yes, the obvious, if I said, on the flip side, for your team to win 44-7, then you'd say, right, yeah, I'll be willing to pay my money. What's going on over there, guy?
Sorry.
What's happening? It's a little bit too much me over there, if I'm being honest with you.
People don't mind that.
Well, it's a great point, right? That's why they got the Boys of Hampton calendars, because they were getting a little more me. I wonder if we're doing that again. If they were like, once is enough.
I think they are, yeah.
Right, yeah, correct. They were like, one time, that's enough. Very split on the London thing. There's some people. I think it also comes down to, like, do you have the money, right? Like, some people are like, yeah, I have the money, so I'm okay. I'd be willing to pay my money.
Still a lot of money.
It is a lot, I understand, but some people have it, unlike you, where you just don't. You're like, where would I come up with $6,000 to even go to London? I only have one choice here. My only choice is to take the free trip to London. It's not really an option for me. And if I'm being honest with you, it's the same thing for me at this point. Like, if my wife said to me today, hey, I heard the Ravens are going to London. Can we go? I would say,
no.
No, we cannot. Today is our anniversary, so next year she wants.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah. Next year for our 10th, she keeps talking about wanting to go to Italy, and every time she says that, I'm like, that sounds wonderful. Where are you coming up with that? Like, where is that coming from?
It's you working 365 days straight.
Well, I do that anyway, just to get by. Just to make sure that my kids can have Gatorade for lacrosse practice tonight. I have to do that just for that. So I have no idea where the money for a trip to London is supposed to come from. And in order to take her and her mom to Mother's Day brunch on Sunday, which I got to tell you, boy, that is a racket. That is, I got to figure out a way to host a Mother's Day brunch. That's got to be something I plan on for next year. Remind me that when we get the like.
Is it too late? I mean, you can still.
I don't think I'm going to be able to put it together in time. Remind me to try to put together a Mother's Day brunch next year because is that you name your price?
I'll remind you every week.
Whatever it is, people because you can't get a reservation anywhere. I don't know when people start making Mother's Day reservations because I thought calling 10 days ahead of time. I'm like, I'm ahead on things. This is as early as I've ever done this. I was very proud of myself. I'm like 10 days out. I'm like, man, I'm good. I'm not scrambling last minute in order to find a reservation for Mother's Day brunch. We're good. Not the case. Nothing available. Nothing. I found one option.
It's a good option, though.
No, it's a very expensive option.
Well, yeah, so good.
It might be fine. I'm not sure. The menu is underwhelming for the price that I'm paying for it. I said, you know what I don't see in here? Like steak or seafood. I see breakfast stuff. I see Denny's, basically, with some mimosas for a lot of money. For a lot.
So
of money.
It's Denny's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If I was just going to Denny's,
well, then maybe you just
should.
Right.
Do it. This past Sunday we went to the diner, and I live in a part of the area where we don't have multiple options for things. I've got a bit of a situation on my hands from last night. I don't know what's going on with Brett Makar, so I don't know if you have to deal with that.
5 minutes for.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was 15. My fault. It's my fault. All right. So I have a minute here.
Yes.
Tell me how I handled this problem. We live out in the very rural part of the area. There's not a lot of options near us. And so when we come across one that's good, like we're about 15 to 20 minutes away from Pierce's. When Pierce's opened, it was a game changer. It was a revelation. I said, oh, my God, this is so much better than anything that exists by us. And I say by us. That's how far we have to travel in order to get to something. Like
20
that's
minutes.
20 minutes.
Gotcha.
It's more like 15 minutes. 15 minutes to Pierce's. Like, but that might as well be next door based on where we are. Everything else is meh. We have a local pizza Italian carry-out place that's totally fine. It's totally fine, and I like the people that run it, and so we go there all the time, right? There's a local Chinese joint. It's as far as Chinese joints go. There's not much. You
got everything.
There's on the road that we live on. The closest thing to us is a wildly overpriced, popular establishment that is the only place. Famously, once upon a time, somebody said, Nick Markakis was having dinner with the Braves at a Moncton restaurant. I was like, well, we know which one it is because there's one. There's one.
Which one is it?
So we know which one it is.
Or you're not going to name
No, I'm not because I'm semi-disparaging them, so I'm not going to name them. But they're wildly overpriced, and it's only fine. There's one place over in Parkton, over by Hereford. There's a place that opened up a few years ago that's really good. It's a, kind of wood fire pizza place. In fact, I'll just go ahead and say it's the name of the place. It's Wood Fire. I'll give them some free pub. It's great, right? Like, it's not very close, but again, 15 minutes is what we consider to be our geofenced area. Like, it's as good as it gets. For some reason, Mrs. Clark would rather go to a terrible chain restaurant in Hunt Valley. Like, just a wretched, whatever average chain restaurant. She does not
Chick-fil-A is pretty above average.
That's not the place.
Okay.
I'd be okay if that was the place. Another pizza-related chain like that. No, it's probably not the one you expect. It's this place. Do you know what those? You know what that would be? If I don't want to.
Yes.
Okay. That place, right? Like, she loves that place, which is as mediocre as it gets.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Woodfire is excellent. It's excellent. The people there are great. It's really, really good. Last night, our kids' lacrosse team was having a fundraiser night at Woodfire. Well, I said, well, this is great. I like this place, but Mrs. Clark never gets excited about it. But now I'm going to have to guilt. I got to guilt her. So we were only going to be able to do carry out, but that's fine. Like, I was excited about it. I like they do a good cauliflower pizza. And
Oh, man. You and that cauliflower.
I love cauliflower pizza. I also had cauliflower when we went to Glory Days yesterday. Yes, that's the way it goes. So we go, right, and I put the order in, and she asks, so the kids want pizzas. I want a cauliflower pizza. Everybody's happy. She asks for a salad. She asks for a salad with no croutons, which is how I order my salads, right? Like, it's how I also order my salads. I say, hey, no croutons, right? I forget when I call the order in, I forget to say no croutons. And when I bring it home, I realize it has croutons. And I say, oh, piss, because it's clearly my fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to acknowledge that it's my fault, because then
But you're not going to disparage Woodfire.
it's my fault. But then if I say they screwed up, then she's never going to want to go back.
Big rock and a hard place.
So what do I do here? What's the play? Do I fall on the sword?
I think you do for the sake of Woodfire.
I don't know, man. I'm in a really difficult spot with this. I'm in a
You
really.
still haven't cleaned it up.
I blame them, and now I'm regretting it. I feel like I might have to come clean at some
The
point
only place
today.
to eat.
The only one I like, 100%, and I'm going to end up being getting boxed out from being able to go there because I didn't want to fall on
What
the
if you
sword for
just-
what was legitimately my own mistake.
You couldn't pick off the croutons real quick?
No, it was. She saw. It was a whole thing.
Look over there. And then
Think about how I should answer that. Message me about how I should handle my conundrum if you get the chance, because I could use the advice. All right, this Saturday night in College Park, the NCAA Tournament gets underway for the University of Maryland as they take on Army at 7:30. Joining us now, a man who was Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He also was selected number 3 overall on the PLL College Draft last night by Atlas. He is Terp star Brett Makar, and he's back with us here on GCR. Brett, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up, man. Thank you so much for taking some time for us.
No doubt, Glenn. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Excited to be on here.
It's an exciting time, obviously, as you guys get ready. Brett, walk me through, right? Like, I think we all knew it probably wasn't going to be another undefeated season this year, right? Like, it was going to be difficult to match that. All of the ups, the downs you have, how good do you feel about this team as a whole as you enter this tournament, knowing as you do what it takes in order to win 4 games over the course of 3 weeks?
Yeah, I feel great. I think the Big Ten tournament there was just another experience for us to put under our belt. I mean, you think about all the young guys we have playing, whether it be freshmen, sophomores, even juniors, where it really is their first time having a large role on this team and contributing as much as they are. So, obviously Saturday against Michigan wasn't the result we wanted, but, to my point, just another experience for us to have under our belt. And I think the guys realize, if we do have another opportunity to play 2 games in 3 days, how hard it is, not only to play, to recover, to get your body right to the point where you can perform at a high level, but to win against a really, really good team. So just like I said, just another experience for us there, but it definitely feels good to get back to a week of prep, having a full week, a normal week of practice. I'm looking forward to having a night game at Maryland Stadium.
Brett, obviously this is the standard being you guys might have been the greatest team in the history of lacrosse a year ago, right? So everybody's kind of measuring against that. Is there a way that you could find yourself saying, hey, if we can make a run here, you might be even more proud of what this team has accomplished, given all of the injuries that you guys have been through, given what you had all lost from a year ago? Is there a strange way where, like, hey, yeah, we did that last year, but in a way, maybe we should have done that. And this year, despite the fact that somebody might say, hey, the record's not as good, you might be as proud, maybe even more proud of what you've been able to accomplish this season.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways this year has definitely been extremely rewarding. And that's not to discredit last year.
Right.
Last year was an amazing group, a special group of guys, and we were able to do some really amazing things. But, this year everything's been more difficult. You've had to put in that much work. You've had to be that much more mentally focused and prepare that much harder in order to get good outcomes over the weekends playing, a hard schedule like we do. And I think in my heart of hearts, everything that's happened to us up until this point has happened for a reason. Every time, maybe we've come up short of underperformed and haven't reached the standard of what Maryland Lacrosse is used to. It's just been another learning opportunity, something to grow from, something to bounce back from, something to rebuild from. And kind of through the ashes here, we've kind of been able to, come together as a group, find our identity, learn what works for us and what doesn't work for us. I know it's definitely pushed me to have to be a better player, better leader and kind of set, the example for the guys, set the temperature every single day. And, it's something I've taken pride in, but in a lot of ways, it's definitely been more rewarding, just like you said, where there's definitely more difficulties and more responsibilities on the older guys.
Yeah, a lot of more adversity that you guys have been through in order to get to this spot. Brett Makar is with us again. Maryland Army, Saturday night, 7:30 in College Park. Brett, you are a nightmare. Like I had the chance. I did your guys' game against Loyola, which I know didn't go the way that you wanted it to go earlier in the season, and I actually did play-by-play for your fall ball up at USA Lacrosse last year. You're a nightmare for people to deal with as a defender. Where did that come from? Like, where did it come from that you just became so unbelievably harassing and a pain in the ass to everyone that you end up marking?
I think it kind of just started as a young kid. I'm one of 4 boys, so I have 3 brothers, 2 older, 1 younger. So everything growing up was kind of having a little bit of that chip on your shoulder, a little bit of that struggle, getting that last piece of steak on the plate or the last bit of food at dinner, or, whether it was video games, sports, pick up basketball in the driveway. Everything was always super competitive, super intense. And I think that's kind of carried me throughout my sports career, and definitely to here at Maryland. I just love having the opportunity to compete. That's the reason I wanted to come to Maryland, was not only to have an opportunity to compete, but to compete against the best. And I get the chance to do that every single day in practice, and then obviously on the weekends with the great opponents we play.
No doubt about it. I mean, like, you are marking up the best, and boy, the results, they speak for themselves. There's no question about that. Brett, the other thing that jumps out at me about you end up going number 3 in the PLL draft last night. I saw this video of you hanging out with the guys and watching this. Like, you knew that your name was going to be called, but I wonder, as a kid, like growing up, you didn't know maybe that there was a day where you could be watching on TV as you get selected in a draft, right? Like, that's a newer thing over the course of the last few years. What is that moment like for someone that didn't always know that there was going to be able to be a moment like that at some point in your life?
Yeah, it's really special. I mean, I was just even in the locker room talking with some of the guys on the team, and obviously it was a super special moment for me individually, and to be able to share it with my teammates, something I'll remember for a really long time. But just overall, I thought they did an amazing job. I think the league's doing a really great job of highlighting the sport, it being on an ESPN platform like it was last night, and the in-depth analysis that was provided. Just those guys really, really know their stuff. You could tell they really love the game and are super invested in doing whatever it takes to make sure the game reaches new heights. So definitely really excited about the direction of the sport. But last night, just a super special moment for me. Like I said, sharing that with my teammates, something, you dream about as a little kid, growing up to one day have an opportunity to, play a professional sport, hear your name called in a draft moment like that. So definitely super exciting, and I'll definitely cherish that for a really long time.
And I know you got work to do before you worry about any of that, but it also was really cool that Kyle Long ends up going to the same team, right? Like, that's a pretty cool thing for you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's definitely one of my, closer friends on the team. Been through a lot together, playing here, a lot of ups and downs, and to be able to continue that going forward is really exciting. I know our parents are going to be pumped up too. The tailgates don't have to stop just yet, so they'll get to spend more time with each other, and I know they're looking forward to that as well.
That's awesome, man. Just another couple of minutes with Brett Makar, Maryland Lacrosse, getting ready for Army on Saturday night. Let's start there, right, Brett? Like, this is a really good Army team that's dominant at the faceoff dot, and I know you guys have a pretty good one, so you're probably not going to be too worried about that going into the game. But how much are you aware of the uniqueness of this challenge? I think for the rest of the country, they'll say, "Oh, well, this is Maryland. This will be easy." But like, this is a really good Army team that's coming in to play you guys on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely a physically imposing group. I mean, I think that's one of the first things that jump out at you when you're watching the film on them is, how hard they play, how physical they play. They really want to try and wear you down, grind you down, and that's what you expect from a service academy, right? They're trained to do that not only in lacrosse, but in the way they go about their business. So they really try and kind of make you feel their presence every single play. So, we definitely have a challenging first-round opponent, but, I mean, you get to this point in the year, and that's what's expected, right? You're playing in the NCAA tournament. Everyone's playing for their life. So, you got to expect whoever you're playing, especially a great opponent like Army, that they're going to give you everything they have and more. So we got to be ready for it.
Just in general, the difference between – so the one thing that we point out is, you guys haven't had like a streak where you've had to play 4 really good teams and win 4 games this season. And I guess the question becomes, what's the biggest difference, Brett, for you guys to be able to put that all together, for you guys to be able to have your best run of the season over the course of the next 3 weeks? What needs to happen?
Yeah, just get back to playing Maryland Lacrosse. I think, if when you followed us this year, when we're good, we're really good. And when we're bad, we're obviously pretty bad. I mean, I think that was pretty evident last weekend. But when that Maryland team gets off the bus or, comes out of the locker room that's excited, focused, dialed in, knows their scouting report, know what, every person on the team's individual responsibility and job is, and you kind of stay within those confines of doing your job, we are a really, really good team and can give anybody in the country a lot of problems. So we just got to find that group consistently. I think we've done it at times this year. We've had a few win streaks this year, whether it's 2 games, one streak of 3 games.
Right.
But to your point, never 4 games. So that's something that we're going to have to find out for ourselves. How do we do that consistently? And whether it be kind of just, kind of staying humble, locked in, and getting back to playing Maryland Lacrosse.
You excited about Jordan Love?
Yeah. I think, obviously Rogers was awesome. I've definitely been spoiled growing up, having the quarterbacks that I've
it's been all right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be a different experience, but I think we're in the perfect position to kind of, rebuild. And any time in life, everything's kind of just based on timing. So I think this is just another one of those situations where it was just time.
What is the connection with the Packers for you? Like, where did that come from?
So my father, Keith, is a huge Packer fan. He grew up in Yonkers, New York, went to Gorton High School, and their team colors were green and yellow, and they had the Green Bay G on their helmets. So he was a water boy for them when he was a kid and just loved them since. And then he named me after Brett Favre, and the rest was history.
There you go. Look at how that works out. Brett Makar. Let's get the I know it's Instagram is Brett Makar 1, correct? MAKAR.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter's just at Brett Makar. Give him following those spots. Anything else I can plug for you NIL-wise? Anything you got going on?
No, that's about it. I don't got anything too crazy in the works going on right now.
Awesome.
Thank you for your support of the Terps, though. Really, really appreciate it.
Brett,
it means a lot to us.
Best of luck over these next couple of weeks. It'll be amazing to see you guys do this again. And no matter what, you've given Maryland fans a lot of thrills over these last few years. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday night. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
No doubt. Thank you so much for having me, Glenn. Have a great day.
That's Brett Makar with us here on GCR, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, and, of course, the number 3 pick in the PLL draft. Getting ready for the start of the NCAA Tournament. Well, they will look to put things together. Not going to be easy, even on Saturday night. As I mentioned, it's a really good Army team that they're going up against to open up the tournament, and got to figure out a way to play their best lacrosse. It did, as we mentioned, probably helps that they get to stick around if they beat Army and play in Annapolis the following weekend. That's a benefit for them. And they'll see, just try to put it all together and be clicking at the right time going into Memorial Day weekend. All right, as we continue along here on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program, if you haven't picked up this new print issue of Pressbox, go get it today at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of those hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. Jackson Holiday had a nice night last night, making his home debut in Aberdeen. Went deep. Not easy to do at Ripken Stadium. He had no problem with it. I think he had 2 hits last night. Didn't he have a hit in his first at-bat, too?
Come up the buoy.
I don't think they're going to do it quite that quickly. Did he finish with 2 hits? Double check on that. Double check on what he did. That's the idea of when I ask that question. I'm looking for confirmation, like I'm looking for you to let me know that I was right. I think he had multiple hits last night in his home debut for the Ironbirds. That illustration of Jackson Holiday is there on the cover of this print issue, which dives into the pipeline that still exists in the Orioles system. 2 hits.
Indeed, and a stolen base.
Yeah, look at that.
This guy, 2 for 5.
Maybe he could play for Arias. Maybe he could just go ahead.
Sorry, Westberg. Sorry,
yeah, right.
Ortiz.
Love you guys, but this is Jackson Holiday we're talking about. Anyway, the point is you can go get this issue right now as it dives into that pipeline and get it for free, or read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. When we come back in, speaking of Aberdeen, it was a nice night. We're going to head up to Aberdeen, where we're going to chat with Trace Bright, who's off to a nice start to the season. We will make a trip to Aberdeen to chat with the Ironbirds. That is on the way as we continue along here on GCR.
The All-America Senior Game powered by New Balance will be back at Johns Hopkins Homewood Field on July 29th. The most decorated girls and boys lacrosse players in the country have been invited to play in what is the premier lacrosse event of the year. Every college coach wants their players in this game, and if you dream of being in this game, you start by trying out for one of your regional underclass teams this summer. The best against the best. Get your tickets now at allamericalacrosse.com.
The Orioles are off and running, out to prove that last season wasn't a fluke, and they are one of the best teams in baseball. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, host of the Bat Around for PressBox. Tune in every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon as Zach Goodman and I break down every Adley bomb, every Tony Tater, and every save from the mountain. Like a warm hug from Rutschman, the Bat Around has you covered with all things Orioles as we embark on what's sure to be a magical summer in Birdland. So tune in every Saturday for the best in Orioles coverage right here on the Bat Around.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Hartford Community College in Bel Air, Maryland, along with the National Junior College Athletic Association's Region 20, will host the 2023 NJCAA Men's Lacrosse National Championship May 13th and 14th at Hartford Sports Complex, 401 Thomas Run Road in Bel Air. Semifinals are on Saturday, May 13th. The national championship is Sunday, May 14th. Catch the action for $10 each day. Tickets will be available in advance or at the gate on game day. Qualifying teams will be announced.
Costas Inn has been serving up delicious steamed crabs for over 50 years. Lately, the crabs you want to eat when the weather warms up have gotten harder and harder to get. So get your crab eating game plan in place. Make sure to stick this number on your fridge, 410-477-1975. Call ahead and reserve the size crabs you want. You may be able to walk in, but you may also be disappointed at the size or maybe even get shut out altogether. So call ahead, have a plan, and then arrive on your crab eating vacation. Costas also has delicious crab soup and crab cakes. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard. For more than 50 years, they've been satisfying crab lovers in and around Baltimore.
If you need more of Glenn, you can also hear him every Sunday with Rita on 105.7 The Fan. But also, if you need more of Glenn, what's wrong with you?
We continue along here on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of GCR. Let's welcome into the program today as we make our first trip up to Aberdeen this season to chat with a member of the Ironbirds. Here's a number that stood out to me about our next guest, his swing and miss rate. So if you're familiar with SWSTR percentage, it's swings and misses and then divided by total pitches. So how many of your total pitches are getting swings and misses? In this season, he's gotten 16.2% swings and misses on the year, which is among the leaders in the Orioles system. He is Orioles pitching prospect Trace Bright, and he is with us now here on GCR. Trace, it's Glen in Baltimore. It's good to chat, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Thank you for having me on. It's good to be here.
Man, it's good to chat with you. I can hear the Alabama come out the moment that you said hello. We can't hide where it is that you are from, my friend. It's great to chat, man. Trace, take me through just this season. I know you got off to a really good start. I know there's been a couple of rough innings in there that have led the numbers to maybe be a little bit less than you wanted to be. But how happy have you been with just the performance, the sheer pitches that you have been throwing, at least for the first few innings of your starts so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I got off to a good start. I was pleased with, those first few starts, and then kind of went through a little bit of a rough patch, but kind of feel like I'm starting to get back where I should be. So I was happy with my pitches overall throughout the starts, but, it's kind of maintaining a nice baseline throughout the whole season. That's the goal as a pitcher, to not have too much of a high or too much of a low, just kind of maintain a steady pace.
You are, as you're settling in as a pro after you were drafted by the Orioles out of Auburn, what has been like the adjustment period for you of I feel like you pitch in the SEC. You're probably going to be about as ready for the adjustment to pro ball as you can be as a college pitcher, right?
For sure. For me, as a high schooler, I knew going to college would be a good thing for me. I felt like that allowed me to develop as a pitcher, both mentally and physically. So that was the biggest thing for me. And then really it hasn't been much of an adjustment coming from college and the SEC to pro ball. The hitters obviously can be very good throughout a lineup in pro ball, but same can be said for an SEC team. So it's been a pretty smooth adjustment so far. And, as each level you move up, it gets tougher and tougher, but I felt like I was very well prepared coming out of college.
Trace Bright is with us here on GCR from the Aberdeen Ironbirds. Trace, walk me through, I bring up the swing and miss rate. Like, walk me through pitch-wise. What's been best working for you this season, and what it is that you're working on as you begin your pro career?
I feel like my fastball has played really well consistently to hitters so far this year. That's allowed me to really be able to expand to my off-speed pitches, my curveball being my go-to out pitch. That's what's been working the best. And really, I think, the minor leagues is for a pitcher is all about development and, bringing my third and fourth pitch, my slider, my changeup along is kind of my big key for me developing as a pitcher. And that's something that, I'm focused on each outing and each bullpen throughout the week is kind of getting those pitches as even with my fastball and my curveball right now.
I mentioned, I know, on Friday you got off to a great start, and then the deeper into the game, is it fair to say now that beyond just the pitches themselves, one of the things you want to work on is just being able to work deeper into games? Because it seems like your talent is obvious. It's very clear what you're capable of doing. But is the next step now just, hey, I want to be able to go 5 innings? I don't want to be able to say, hey, I had 3 innings of really good pitches, and then it kind of came apart. Is the next step working kind of deeper into the games with the same confidence that you have to start?
For sure. You always have those little goals for the next week that you kind of want to adjust and focus on. And so for me, that's getting 4 or 5 solid innings as, after struggling for a few outings, it was, hey, let's get deeper into a game, period. And now it's, let's keep a good quality start for 4 or 5 innings and not kind of fall off on the back end. But, that can be challenging as a pitcher, but it's something that, you set your sights on week in and week out to do consistently.
I know you're a strikeout guy. Not only, you have the 10 strikeout game to start the season, 7 the last time out, but I know you had a lot of strikeouts at Auburn as well, including in the College World Series where you're getting a ton of strikeouts. Is the goal to continue to be a strikeout artist, or is part of the adjustment to say, hey, I also have to learn what the pitches that I have are that can get me a ground ball when a ground ball, do you have to learn to not always think that, hey, I need to go for a strikeout here? What's that kind of thought process?
Well, as a pitcher, you always want to strike out. And sometimes I think the mindset can be too focused on it, and you try and make pitches better than you really need to be. And I think sometimes you can struggle with that with outing, but also, I think for me, I just try and make the best pitches possible. And sometimes that leads to a strikeout. I don't feel like always I'm thinking strikeout, especially early in an at-bat, 0-0, 0-1. You don't want to try and be too perfect with the pitch that you start to fall behind and get behind in the account. So for me, I think really, it just kind of depends on the mindset. You want to get ahead to get yourself in a position to get that strikeout, but you don't want to get yourself behind the 8-ball,
right,
being too fine or too perfect.
Yeah, trying to make this perfect pitch when sometimes it's just okay. Take your ground out and move on and get the job done, no doubt. Trace Bright is with us. The Ironbirds are home this week. Of course, I think a lot of people came out last night. Coming up this weekend, some great events, including Bark in the Park on Friday night, as well as pregame catch on the field on Saturday. Moms run the bases on Sunday. You can celebrate Mother's Day with the Aberdeen Ironbirds, plus on postgame, kids can run the bases as well. Check out all of that at ironbirds.com as the Ironbirds are home this weekend. That was a heck of a scene last night, right? Like with you guys having Jackson playing at home for the first time. How special? I know you've only been around him for a little while, but have you gotten a sense for how special that dude is? And boy, did he seem to have a feel for the moment last night, didn't he?
For sure. I mean, for a kid to be that young and that talented is fun to watch and be able to watch 6 days a week. But you know, I'm happy for him. It's a fun to be a part of a team with the talent that we have throughout the lineup. You know, I mean, just let's look at our lineup. You know, we have first rounders, day one picks throughout. You know, great pitching staff. So it's a fun organization to be a part of, fun team to be a part of, just because, you know, the talent level is consistently high throughout.
You know, it's funny you say that because I feel like once upon a time, you know, you would have heard your name called. I've talked to guys, you know, even at the major league level, that when they were drafted by the Orioles, they'll admit, like, at the time they were a little bit, you know, not as thrilled about that. When you got that call a year ago, having already at that point seen sort of the progress the Orioles were making with Adley Rutschman, I get that you were going to be excited no matter who called your name, but was there a little bit more excitement for you kind of seeing what the Orioles were building over the course of the last couple of years and what it is that you'd be walking into?
For sure. I mean, you definitely look at that as a player or a prospect coming into the draft, but you know, kind of uniquely for me, I grew up an Orioles fan, having a little bit of family from the Haverty Grace area.
Really?
Really? It was really more of a surreal moment for me, because being a lifelong Orioles fan and having family in the area. So it was full circle, not only because of that, but, you know, also because you look at the prospects that they've put out and the young talent that they have in the organization, stands out as a young draftee.
Boy, this is really interesting to me. So tell me about your family. Who all was in Haverty Grace? What's the story there?
So my grandmother is originally from Haverty Grace.
Wow.
And some of her family still lives there, but she moved down south to Alabama, and that's kind of why our roots are down there. But I still have family from this area, so I grew up an Orioles fan, wore number 8 because of Cal all growing up, but it was a great moment for me and my family to see the Orioles pick me last summer.
That's so cool.
But, you know, it's been a lot of fun.
You're not staying with family now, are you? I mean, obviously Haverty Grace is 2 minutes away from where you guys are. You're not staying with family, are you?
No, but you know, it's nice to have an off day, and you know, I can run over and see family or get the lowdown for where the places to eat around here are.
That's
the best
really
places
cool
to go. So I've got a little bit of a leg up on some people.
No doubt, man. I mean, literally, Haverty Grace is right next door. That's incredible that it worked out that way, man. You're probably the only guy on the team that knows how to pronounce Haverty Grace, by the way. I'm guessing that everybody else has been butchering it this season. Like, hey, I got to run over to Havre de Grace or something like that. You're probably the only one. Trace, what do we need to know about you? That's one thing that we knew about you, and I'm guessing that means that before you arrived in the system, you had probably had. Can I assume that you had crabs at some point in your life before you got to the Orioles system?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, made a trip or two up to Baltimore, and you know, enjoyed some games in Camden Yards prior to being drafted. So.
That's such a cool story. I had no idea. That's really, really cool. What else do we need to know about you? Tell me what it is. You know, when baseball season is over, what will we catch Trace Bright doing maybe on a Friday night? Like, what are you into? What music, movies? You know, activities? What is it that you're into besides just being a baseball player?
Well, I mean, the music seems pretty obvious. You know, I like good country music.
I was going to say hardcore rap, right? Like that's your.
No, I'm more of a country guy. If we couldn't pick up on that already.
I figured that was probably the case.
You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, obviously, you know, in the fall, in the off season, a good Saturday football game down in the SEC is always, you know, fun to watch or fun to be at. You know, Auburn was a good place to be at for Saturdays and football.
Pretty raucous atmosphere.
Fishing and fishing is another thing. You know, I'm not too picky about what to do. I'm pretty laid back with most things. So I would say fishing or football games are probably my go-to on an off day.
Doesn't sound so bad, man. I think we could get along just fine in those scenarios. I think that'd be all right. Trace Bright, it's really cool to learn that connection that you had to this area, and you really legitimately rooted. Like you were always an Orioles fan. Like it's just who you rooted for growing up.
Always.
Even the Orioles were terrible for a lot of that. You were still an Orioles fan.
Well, I mean, you know, with the Braves being not too far away from me in Alabama, everybody's like, you know, what fan are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm an Orioles fan. They're like, huh?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. You know, the Braves are a few hours away. I'm like, well, my team's about 12 hours away. So
that's cool, man.
It was a little bit different. But
that's a really, really cool story. Trace Bright, where can Orioles fans be giving you a follow? Twitter, Instagram, anywhere like that?
Twitter and Instagram. Those are the two that I usually stick to.
So Twitter's Trace_Bright04, correct?
Yes.
And then Instagram is T_Bright04. Give him a follow in those spots. Trace has been excited by that swing and miss rate. That'll play forever if that can continue, man. We like the sounds of that. And really cool that this has worked out, that you ended up being with the team that you loved growing up. That's such a cool thing. Congratulations on the success you found so far. Can't wait to see what's next for you. Thank you for taking the time for us. We'll look forward to catching up with you again as you make your move throughout the system, all right?
Thank you for having me on.
Trace Bright, Orioles pitching prospect with the Aberdeen Ironbirds right now. That's a neat story. I had no idea. I had no clue that fifth-round pick of the Orioles a year ago was a lifelong Orioles fan because of his family and Haverty Grace. And I guarantee nobody else on the team knows how to pronounce Haverty Grace. Somebody said to Jackson Holiday last night, hey,
you mean Harvard Grace?
Yeah, Harvard. I mean, that's, by the way, if you get that, you feel like that might as well call it pronouncing it correctly at that point. Neat story. That's very cool. Enjoyed that conversation with Trace Bright. A couple of things. One, don't forget that you can go check out not only the Ironbirds, but all of the area's minor league teams for tickets to all of the area's minor league parks, plus an Easy Pass Maryland on-the-go transponder preloaded with $25 and a $50 gas card from Royal Farms. But you got to go sign up at PressBoxOnline.com/contest. You must be 18 or older in order to enter. Get signed up today to win all of that. PressBoxOnline.com/contest. Also, I apologize. I said Ironbirds.com. It's IronbirdsBaseball.com. So my apologies for that if you want to get your tickets. And I saw there was a really nice crowd there last night for Jackson Holliday's home debut. And he met the moment for sure. IronbirdsBaseball.com is the website. All right, two things. There is a Bob Huggins update.
Really?
Which is
what?
Pretty unbelievable. He's gonna keep his job. I say it's unbelievable. I get it. Pete Thamel, of course, is a longtime college sports writer, now with ESPN. Sources, WVU and Coach Bob Huggins are finalizing details for him to return to the sideline next season in the wake of him using an anti-gay slur in a radio interview earlier this week. He's expected to receive a suspension, a $1 million salary reduction, and sensitivity training because that'll show him.
Yeah.
That'll show we don't stand for it. So as is always the case, then now the question will be, will they survive the outrage of them not firing Bob Huggins? And within the West Virginia fan base, like the people that are like the fan board people, they're like, yeah, nobody wants him fired. And I get it. Like Bob Huggins, unfortunately, as we said, If there's a place, West Virginia is probably the place, right? Like, it's the best place for him to be to survive something like this. In fact, they might even like him more because of it. Some of them, and I don't want to be unfair and say it's everyone connected to West Virginia, because I certainly know that there are more reasonable people that ended up at the University of West Virginia or from West Virginia. It's not everyone, but let's be fair about the percentages. There will be backlash to this. The question is, can they make that go away, because the season is still a long time away from now. Like, this is more difficult if you're leading into the season and it's more pressing. Now, West Virginia will hope that people are mad. They're furious about it for 2 days, and then there's an entire summer, and everyone forgets about it. And then it's football season, and nobody cares, and that's what their hope will be. It's absolutely shameful. There's just no way of getting around it. Like, I'm not the type of person that likes to call for people's jobs, but this is as bad gets. This is as obvious of what a garbage person someone is and incapable of being a leader as you can possibly see. This doubling down, making sure everyone knows, this is a window into someone's soul. This is obvious. This is who this guy is. This is how he talks. This is the way that, like, this is what he thinks is appropriate. And we can talk about, you can yell and scream at me and say, cancel, call, do whatever you want to do. It's fine. I don't think everyone should just lose their jobs. I also don't think I should be the person that makes those decisions for everybody. And there's been, again, the morning that I said on the radio, we don't need an effing centaur, I ran the risk of losing my job. So I understand it. But there's a difference between these scenarios. Like, it's 2023. There's no, well, we don't know anymore. Those days are over. Or, hey, it used to be acceptable, so he's from another time. You're a public figure in 2023. There is no debate or question about certain things that you say or don't say. This one is obvious. It wasn't a mistake. It was peering into the soul of who this person is. Now, it doesn't affect me. I'm not a taxpayer in the state of West Virginia. You know, like, my money doesn't go to the man's salary, and so I get it. Like, again, the people of West Virginia might say, we don't care. But it's shameful that there isn't someone within that who says, no, this isn't all right. It's embarrassing. This is embarrassing. But it's what it is. John from Little Rock wants to know he was being sarcastic about the sandwich. Okay. But you're not always sarcastic, John. There are things that you say that you enjoy that leave me very much scratching my head. So I'm sorry. I did not pick up on the sarcasm that time. That's on me. That's on me, not on you. On me. Because sometimes I question. You like the mayonnaise pepper thing. And if you're willing to like that, then I think there's a lot of things that you might be willing to like that I'm going to have to question, and it makes me not be able to read through the sarcasm quite as well. So it's a little bit on me, but I'd say it's also on you and your dreadful taste buds sometimes. Yes?
I was going to say, I mean, teams that are playing West Virginia now, when West Virginia comes in, they just have to, throw the dildos on the floor every time now.
Yeah.
I think that's what has to be done now.
Yeah, I mean, like, there is that. I know, it's fun. I just hate that. This shouldn't be a joke, right? Like, it should be that it's easy. And I get it. I'm not mad at you for making the joke. Like, it just should be easy for us to say no. Like, no. Plain and simple.
He's
no.
wrong. And
correct.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. Like, there's just no that. I mean, if I cared about West Virginia, I'd be embarrassed by it. I obviously don't, so it's what it is. Go back into the woods. Do you want to talk about your nervous tick? It's something that I've noticed the last couple of weeks. Can we talk about it or not?
Uh-oh.
So,
I mean, I guess so.
It was funny to me, and I wrote it down because I realized I had been thinking about it for a few weeks. What do you think your nervous tick? I know I have some ticks, and I don't know if they're nervous ticks, but I absolutely, one of my crutches is the moral of the story. when I'm getting lost in something that we're talking about, and I want to try to bring it back to the point that I was originally making because we veered down another road, I say the moral of the story is it's a verbal crutch. Instead of, I just go to it every time. Instead of just doing it, instead of just getting back to the point, sometimes in interviews, you can hear where I get lost from where I was going to go and what I intended to go to next. And then I realize, so I kind of fill for a second. You can hear that sometimes during interviews where I'm filling because I knew where I wanted to go next, but then I forgot or something else I heard took me away from it because I do try to engage and listen to the answers and follow up on the answers that I get and have a conversation. I'm not just trying to read off a list of questions and not pay attention. Like I do try to do an engaging conversation as far as interview goes. But sometimes you'll hear a crutch of mine where it's clear my synapses aren't firing. And so I'm sort of padding for a second, just talking through someone's accomplishments or resetting while I try to get my synapses back in line. These things happen. I've noticed that you have a nervous tick.
Okay.
Do you know what your nervous tick
I
is?
don't think so. I mean, I feel like, is it something I do with my face?
No. It's something in a very specific circumstance.
I feel like I pick up
No, in
a
fairness,
pen,
you don't
maybe?
have to. No, it's not that. Well, maybe you do that too. I don't know. I haven't picked up. Maybe you have multiple
don't know
nervous
then.
ticks.
I probably have a lot.
When you call a guest, do you? If I said it was in that context, do you not recognize what your nervous tick is?
It's like something physical I do, or
Not necessarily physical. No, I mean it's more something you say.
probably like I don't
No. Everybody does I mean, like the idea of getting rid of Some people are worse than others. Admittedly, there are people that'll do and then they still haven't gotten to the point where they needed to go, and so they do it again. Like it's Mike Francesa would do that all the time, where the brain hadn't started working yet, so there would be multiple ums. Like he would do a prolonged
Do I trail off at the very end?
It's I don't know why it's a nervous energy. I think it might still be because you're not the booking guest was still new to you,
Right.
and there's still everybody that starts booking guests for the first time get very nervous. I always have to go through the same spiel every time. The worst that can happen is someone says no.
Right, and I've figured that out.
Like,
yeah.
Yes, every now and then you might get somebody who's, how'd you get my number? Lose my number? You might get, but how does that affect your life in any way? Like, it doesn't change anything. It's unpleasant for a second, but then you're like, okay, well, that guy's an a-hole, but whatever. By the way, some of those people might agree to come on the next time you call. Right. That's just the way that it goes. Steve Smith was one of the biggest jerks on the face of the planet, but yet he would do that one time, and the next time he might say he'd come on. Like, it's just that thing happens. I think it's related to that. So we're gonna do. I'm gonna be you,
Okay.
and you're gonna be. Let's just come up with a fake. You're gonna be Mike Devereaux. No. I'm trying to come up with. You're gonna be Michael Jordan.
Oh wow.
All right. I'm you. I'm Griffin. You're Michael Jordan.
Okay.
All right.
You're calling me.
I'm calling you. Ring, 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 ring.
Probably just doesn't answer.
Ring,
right?
ring, 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 ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Michael?
It is.
This is Griffin Bass with Glen Clark Radio back in Baltimore. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Hey, just wanted to know, are you ready to go? Are you ready to come on the show?
Yeah.
You're going to come on the show, and we're going to talk about basketball, and we're going to talk about the Bulls, and we're going to.
Oh,
so
I tell them what we're talking about.
It's
too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't know who's coming on the show that doesn't know what it is that they're talking about, and they come on the show.
Gotcha.
Like, I try to think of who the guest would be that would be unaware of what the topic of
Yeah.
Like maybe Jeremy, but I would think that we're close enough that he knows what he's getting into every week. It's just, it could be anything, and you don't know what we're talking about when Jeremy comes on every week.
Yeah.
Every time, it's Trace Bright. All right, you ready to come on with us and talk some baseball, talk some Ironbirds? Like, did you think we were going to come on and talk about popular souffles? And it's just a nervous tick. It's not the end of the world. Like, it's not like it's going to somebody's going to say, well, now I'm not coming on this show. It's not that. Like, I'm not mad about it in any way. It's just a nervous tick that I've picked up on that instead of saying, hey, are you ready to come on with Glenn? You got to go into like a breakdown of, come on today. We're going to talk about your pitching, and we're going to talk about the baseball, and we're going to talk about baseball pitching and Ironbirds
Make sure it's clear. I mean,
It almost comes off like you're just naming things. It's like around the room.
I think it helps him.
You want to have a nice conversation about walls.
Glenn is wearing a hat today,
and
just so you know.
Yeah. I think it's Wednesday, so he's probably got boxers on today. I think Thursdays maybe he wears briefs. We had a producer, legendarily at the old radio station that doesn't exist anymore. One of my favorite people was Ray Bachman, who was a host too, but he was program director. And Ray would, with regular guests, would either attempt to screw with them or to try to take the edge off. Like, he would do this. So this is Ray now calling. You can be Michael Jordan this time, all right? So, go ahead and ring, 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 ring.
Hello.
Is this Michael?
It is.
Hey, Michael, it's Ray Bachman back at the W radio station that doesn't exist anymore. Ready to get on Bob Haney?
Sure.
All right. Hey, you know what I heard is that interviews go better if you take your shirt off. So Bob went ahead and took his shirt off. You want to go ahead and take your shirt off as we get ready for the interview?
What? No.
I'm not. No. Just trust me on this one. Bob, better go ahead. Take your.
You can't even see me.
Take your shirt off. What kind of boxers you wearing today? You got briefs on. You got that would be Ray would do that. Maybe not with Michael Jordan, but I wouldn't. Knowing Ray, it wouldn't have surprised me that even if Cal Ripken called in, he would have done the same shtick. Like, he did it constantly, trying to loosen people up. And it was really great producing. Like, it's trying to get somebody loosened up. Now, it was also a different time in radio when it wasn't quite as difficult to get people to come on because there weren't a billion podcasts that you're competing against. It was just a handful of radio stations, and people didn't have social media to promote things, so they actually appreciated the opportunity to come on to a larger audience and promote things. The medium has changed dramatically over the years, where, like, now I don't need you. You're actually bothering me now. I don't need anything about you. Whereas at the time, people really did need you to get
radio, and
they needed your platform to get their message out, or whatever their branding was. They needed it. Now, I can't give you anything that your own Instagram can't possibly give you. It doesn't work that way. But that was always one of my favorite things that Bachman would do. It would just be like, hey, why don't you go ahead and take your shirt off? Why don't you go ahead and... So maybe you try that next time, right? Like, maybe that instead of...
shirt thing?
Right. Like, maybe instead of talking
to Patrick
baseball.
or something.
Right.
I know. I did notice that it is with Patrick, because obviously Patrick knows exactly what we're going to talk about every week.
Do you do it with him still?
Yeah.
You still say, come on and talk?
And I'm like, duh. Yeah.
All the people. He comes on every week.
Yeah.
Knows exactly what he's talking about. Now, like, I can understand if there's more time in break and you're just trying to, like...
Yeah.
I remember getting very nervous about being delayed, like when somebody took a break versus when we said they were going to call somebody, and you didn't want to leave them waiting on hold for too long, so you try to, as a phone screener, as a producer, you try to, like, pad the time. So, everything going well today? You having a good day? Like, you try to bring up something like, it's a great start last time out. You're talking to Trace Bright, like, man, that was a great start last time out. And you're just trying to delay how long until you put them on hold. Feinstein, we should probably, because I think he's got his David Faraday book came out. Damn, we actually probably should have done that today with Drew in. Damn it. Although that would have been wasting time talking about golf. On next week's PGA Championship week, we should probably try to do that for next week, because his David Faraday book did come out.
Okay.
But, like, Feinstein has a rule, he won't wait on hold for longer than 30 seconds. He tells you that every time. Even people that he's friends with. Like, we've been friends with John Feinstein for forever. Say, I'm not waiting on hold. Call me when you're ready. Like, that's his thing. And sometimes, like, right there, I was in the middle of the story that I was telling you about, the wood fire thing, and I didn't want to just bail on the story. Like, Trace Bright can wait 45 seconds for me to finish talking. I still don't know what the answer is. I feel like it's going to come up. I swear to God, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to wait it out.
You're going to bring up wood fire.
Next time I talk about going to wood fire, next time I say, if she then says...
Oh, that's the place.
...that screwed up and put croutons on my salad... Then
you can be like, well,
then
actually,
I fall on the sword, right? Like, then
yeah,
if she forgets about it between the next, it's not like we're going to wood fire every week or something like that. But if in the 4 weeks,
in a perfect world,
I would like to go to wood fire. We are so Pierce's and wood fire. As far as places by us, there's actually another decent little like it's called Coal Fire in Hunt Valley. That's okay. Like, that place is fine, too. Woodfire is better because they got a better menu. It's not just the pizzas. Like, they do Woodfire burgers and stuff like that are very good. Their salads are better. Like, everything at Woodfire is better. Woodfire is, again, they have not paid me a penny. They did give 20% of the bill last night, however, to Hereford Lacrosse, and I appreciate that. That's a good thing. So good on them for that. They are not getting, but I'm still putting them over because that's how much I like that place. And in a part of our neck of the woods, there ain't much of that. There is just not a lot redeemable out by us. So I'm giving them the big push. Maybe they can spend $1 with us. That'd be nice because I really like their work. I'm fans of their food efforts. And everywhere else around us stinks. And we don't have other options. It was like I was working on a stand-up routine at one point where I was like, imagine what must it be like to live somewhere where you have choices. You're like, I want pizza tonight. And you can choose which pizza place you want. Where I live, we just go to the pizza place. That's it. You say, we want pizza tonight. Great. We'll go to the place. What's it called? Pizza. That's it. That's what we have where I live. It must be nice to live in a city where you're like, I want Joe's Pizza one night, and Dave's Pizza another night, and Jim's Pizza a third night. We're like, we just have pizza. That's what we've got.
I do appreciate that small town feel of, it's Pizza Garden in my town. So.
Pizza Garden, that's the place that you have.
Pizza
it's
Garden.
The one place that you can go to if you want pizza. There is a chain.
I guess there's a couple, there's a couple chains, but
Pizza
Garden.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to go to the terrible chain places, there is one of there used to be two, but one of them closed up shop by us. There's only one. Shaq's Pizza is still by us. But who wants to go there ever? Like, ever in their life? Every now and then when I'm not home, my wife will order Shaq's Pizza for my kids. And I'll be like,
She has to do it when you're not home.
Yeah, correct, because she knows I will thumb my nose at it. You're giving them that? Why are you feeding them this dog food? Sure, it's fine. Sure, it's actually, in fact, I was thinking about, because we always like to try something on the Sunday show, on the radio show. We try to try new things that are out there.
Right.
Well, and so I have a bit of a controversy.
Have you done the Old Bay tequila yet?
We did the Old Bay tequila.
That was a long time.
We try to do it when it comes. We try to do new things.
Yes.
Like, that's the point. Like, I've had to admonish other producers that we've had because they just brought in something from their house that was like, have you guys ever tried that? I'm like, no, the idea is that we're the taste makers. We're trying something that people haven't tried yet, and we're giving it the thumbs up or the thumbs down. We recently did the bourbon cream soda from Indiana that found its way here, which is unbelievable. We also tried, there was a Pennsylvania brewery that did a pickle sour, and it is awful.
Pickle sour?
I appreciate the fact that it's very pickle flavored. I hate when people do something that's pickle flavored and it's like faint pickle flavor. It's very, but I don't like sours. Sours to me, I've never understood why.
A pickle beer, pickle sour?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I don't know why 10 years ago everybody decided that sours were the thing. Like, they stink.
I liked
awful.
Chili beer out in Colorado. They have like green chili beer.
I would be willing to listen to that.
I like that.
It would be something that I would be
I
willing
haven't
to
had
try.
it since only when I'm in Colorado.
I was at a local supermarket, not a chain supermarket, but a local supermarket last night, and I don't know who makes them, but I found crab tortilla chips. They're literally called crab tias.
Crab tias.
Now, of course, we've all had different crab chips over the years, but I'd never seen crab tortilla chips, and so I said, well, this must be new. I'll go ahead and get a bag for Sunday. But this is a little bit tricky. I also have a long-standing tradition with our friends, the Gatsbys. It's a couple that we've been very close friends with for a very long time, and Kyle...
You call them the Gatsbys.
Kyle decided to call them the Gatsbys years ago because they have a pool and a boat, right? Like, I was talking about, we're going over there. We might go in the pool and the boat. He's like, they got a pool and a boat? What are they,
the
Gatsbys?
Rockefellers?
Yeah, right? So we decided to stick with the Gatsbys over the years. They're very, very close friends of ours, and we always do, a few events together. And like, we typically do Memorial Day together. We typically do Labor Day together. 4th of July maybe. Like, we do summer holidays together. And then, I throw a big party every summer. We just kind of split the way it works. So, but I've got a long-standing tradition with the Gatsbys that we do chip tasting parties. That whenever there's new chips that come out, I gather them up, and when we get together with the Gatsbys, I bring over 2 or 3 bags of new chip flavors that have come out. So am I cheating on the Gatsbys if I do the crab tias with Rita on Sunday?
Do they definitely listen to the
No,
Sunday
they definitely
show?
don't listen, but I typically like to post these things, on social media. That's the tricky part. I typically like to post on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
I guess that's
about
Can you do
block
a private?
them?
I know. Can you do a private?
Block? I'm blocking the Gatsbys? They didn't do anything wrong.
Can you?
Like, they didn't do anything.
Yeah, but you can do like a private, kind of story thing, right? Can't you do that?
Why would I do that? Is it
so
worth
it? They can't see.
Think about the effort that I'm putting into this.
It's not that much
It
effort.
sounds to me like if I'm
it's
doing
not a block. It's
but
like
if
a
I'm
hide,
doing
it's a
that,
hide
it's
the story.
because I know it's wrong. And if
No,
it's
not.
wrong,
But
I shouldn't do it, right?
It's not that wrong though. You're just trying to.
I also might
protect
need.
their
I need to
feelings.
track down some. There are apparently some. Lay's has a BLT flavor out this summer.
Man.
They also have a baked buffalo chicken sandwich flavor out, and they have a Cuban sandwich flavor out this summer. And the only one, as I was perusing last night, that I saw that you could get locally was the BLT flavor. So I'm gonna end up giving this assignment to you to track
Find the
down.
BLT.
Well, the BLT, I think I
the
can
one
just
you
run
did
over to
find
a
the
local
BLT.
grocery
Okay.
store. I mean, it may at least the website suggested I could just run over to my local
They have
grocer.
Kobe steak flavor.
No, some of these things aren't like they're like from other countries. I'm saying right now, this summer, the flavors they introduced were those 3 flavors, but you can only get them in certain places.
What were what? It was BLT. What was
BLT, baked, Lay's
Buffalo
baked
chicken.
buffalo chicken sandwich, specifically buffalo chicken sandwich, because I think they did a buffalo chicken dip before. This is buffalo chicken sandwich and a wavy Cuban sandwich flavor.
There's the wavy. Okay, I see the wavy one.
Those-
Available online. GoPuff.com.
Is it?
That's what. Yeah.
I was looking everywhere, and I could not find anything that I would be able to get besides the BLT. And I want to get all of them before Memorial Day. There's also apparently a barbecue Doritos this summer is doing ketchup and mustard flavors.
Ew.
Get the entire
tangy ketchup.
Miss me with that.
Oh, look at this. It's right under similar products on GoPuff.
Miss me with that.
Buffalo chicken
Those
sandwich.
stink. I don't know what GoPuff is.
I don't know what it is either.
We'll look into it in a second because I do need to track these down. They're doing ketchup and mustard. Miss me. That stinks. But they're also apparently doing a barbecue flavor of some sort this summer.
There's
a Doritos
barbecue.
like intense barbecue or something like that. I would also be willing to try those. I like for summer parties, I like to bring, again, specifically with the Gatsby's, I like to bring new chip flavors. So if you see something, say something. It's it's sort of like the terrorism alert. If you see something, say something. All right? That's what I need. I think we've covered everything we needed to cover today. I think the Griffin's
There's
tick,
a hot
my
mustard
search for-
Dorito.
Yeah, that's it. They're doing ketchup and mustard. Did you not? Do you listen to when I talk?
Well, sorry, I saw the when you said it. I was looking right at the tangy mustard or tangy ketchup one at the same time. So
all right.
I only heard the ketchup.
Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Shane McClanahan got the win on Monday.
Baltimore native Shane
Baltimore native
McClanahan.
Shane McClanahan used his
Of
Baltimore
course, the
hatred,
son
I guess.
of the great Rue McClanahan. Everybody
Is
knows
he?
that.
Okay.
I don't think so. That'd be amazing if we learned that.
So he became the third Ray ever to win each of his first 7 decisions in a season. He joined in
Rue
2019.
McClanahan died 13 years ago. I did not realize that.
He joined in 2019, Charlie Morton from the Tampa Bay Rays, and then in 2013, Matt Moore did this as well for the Rays. Rays off to an incredible start.
mean,
and
They didn't win last night, though.
they did not win last night.
And they're throwing some guy I've never heard of tonight. Who the hell is
It's
this guy?
Beeks. He's going to be
Yeah.
the opener, I believe,
Oh, okay.
for
That's what it
Yanni
is.
Chirinos.
Ah, I
Yanni
see.
Chirinos will get the bulk of the
All right, got it.
the middle innings. Former Oriole Jordan Lyles had a complete game yesterday for the Royals.
He likes to eat some innings. Did he
And
give
he-
up? Did he give up 8 runs in the process?
He gave up 4 runs in a 9-inning complete game.
He did.
That's
what he's
threw
there
112
for.
pitches.
Throw your arm off, baby.
Yeah. And the Royals have now lost the first 8 starts.
He
from Jordan
eats
Lyles.
innings like Jameis Winston eats W's.
It's the first time in the Royals franchise history they've lost a pitcher's first 8 starts to a season.
That's
Jordan
rough.
Lyles.
That's
Yeah,
rough.
he can't catch a break.
He's doing his job, though.
He is doing it.
You don't sign Jordan Lyles for wins and losses. You sign him for one reason. You are resetting the bullpen, baby.
Yesterday was Tony Gwynn's. It would have been his 63rd birthday.
Okay.
And so MLB did a quick highlight of his biggest accolades. He had 19 seasons where he hit 300 or better. That is the second most seasons ever. Where
Ted Williams?
I was going to ask you to do the top 10. Ted Williams is in the top 10.
Oh, but he's not number one?
He's not number 1.
Somebody had more than 13 seasons?
19.
19?
300 seasons. Ted Williams had 18, so he's tied for, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right.
Tied for 5th.
I mean, this is actually interesting because I'm trying to figure out who would be number 1. It's got to be somebody. It can't be a modern player.
It is not
It's
a
not
modern
because
player.
George Brett, I'm going to guess, is on the-
There's not. It is not George Brett.
He's not on the list at all?
No,
That's
not
a
in the
little
top 10.
surprising.
See how far down George Brett is. He's pretty far down.
Really?
Yeah. The dumb
Ty Cobb is the other one that comes to mind.
He is number one.
He's number one.
23 seasons batting 300 or better.
Christ.
Anyway, I can't give you the exact number of seasons Brett hit because the stat website that I use, they decided to go premium like this past week.
Oh,
so
great.
I only get X amount of searches now a month.
Well, you might have to find another source.
I know. I'm gonna have to take some like stat head classes or something and learn how to use stat head and baseball reference better. And it also blocks off half of after it gives you like the top 10 to 20.
Yeah.
It blocks off like the next 20 guys on the list. So it's awful. It's terrible, honestly.
All right, so
StatMuse.
You're saying
$20 a month.
$20?
Literally everything I've been doing was free for the past like 6 months, and I've been getting all the information I want as much as I need.
That is a good way.
$20 a month.
Relevant. I get it. It sucks to sell advertising, but man, that's all right. How many other modern guys are there? Any?
Yeah, really none.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty. I guess but I wanted to highlight Tony Gwynn. So that was what I decided to do here.
I'm gonna guess Pete Rose.
Pete Rose is just outside of the top 10 here. He had 15 such seasons. Our 10th guy had 16 seasons.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is tied for 8th, or tied for 9th. So he is in the top 10.
We're going back a ways on all these guys. Stan the Man Musial.
Stan Musial, 18 seasons. He is in the top 10.
Honus Wagner.
Honus Wagner tied with Babe Ruth, 16 such seasons of 300.
Eddie Matthews.
Eddie Matthews not in the top 10 here.
Mel Ott.
Not Mel Ott.
Duke Snyder.
Not Duke.
All right. Nap LaJoy.
Nap LaJoy, your boy, is on the list. 17 such seasons.
Just naming old baseball guys. Puddinhead. He's Puddinhead. Oh, he was a pitcher, wasn't he?
Yeah, Puddinhead's not on the list.
Rogers Hornsby.
Rogers Hornsby is tied with Tony Gwynn for second on this list.
Naming old baseball fellers. That's what we're doing today. Cap Anson.
Cap Anson also had 19 seasons of 300 or better.
Did I say Tris Speaker?
Tris Speaker is on the list. I think that did you get 10 already?
I don't know.
Including Tony Gwynn.
Oh, that is a list. How about that?
That is. Good job.
Just name old baseball guys.
You know your old guys.
I know so many old baseball guys. We didn't even get to. Who did we not get to? Duke Snyder. We didn't get to.
Well, you did actually say Duke Snyder. He was not. He's not. On the list.
He's not on the list.
Yes.
Okay. Did I get to? Who else would I have gotten?
You would expect Lou Gehrig to be on this list. He had 14 seasons. Had he played a little longer.
I was thinking even older than Lou Gehrig is the funny part. Who else would I gotten to on my old baseball man list? Rocky Calavito. Or did I say Rocky Calavito?
No, you did not say Rocky Calavito.
Yeah, that definitely would have been my old baseball
Maglio,
man
again,
list.
I can't see the exact number of seasons, but Maglio Ordonez is high up on this list.
Okay, good for Maglio Ordonez.
Double-digit seasons.
Al Kaline would have definitely been. Al was actually more modern than these guys are. Hank Greenberg. There's a good old baseball man.
Jimmy Fox.
Jimmy Fox is definitely a quality old. We could just keep. I would love to spend the day. There's a tweet that comes around every now and then. They're like, boys will be perfectly happy just sitting around naming athletes. And I think about my buddy Brandon who runs Rams Head Live, and whenever we go to a show together, we inevitably sit in his office and we just talk about. That's all we do is just name old football players that we enjoyed watching, and we're having the time of our lives. Like people that work with him walk in and they're like, "What are we looking at? Like what is going on here?" And we couldn't be having a better time.
There was a stand. I mean, I don't know who the comedian was, but someone. Comedian did a bit where he was like, where like his parents are like, "Oh, what'd you do at your friend's house over the weekend?" And he's like, "Oh, we had fun." And in reality, he was like, "We made a list of the top 10 second basemen of all time that were born in the month of June."
Yep, 100%, man. Like that's all I need. All I need. All right, very good. We'll get Tubular. Tubular is brought to you by A.J. Michaels. Expert and award-winning A.J. Michaels. Heating, AC, plumbing, and home performance will improve your home's energy efficiency and comfort levels. It's AC season. New rebates and discounts are available. More at ajmichaels.com. Here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise for the evening. Orioles do indeed wrap up their series with the Rays tonight. An opportunity to win a series against the best team in baseball. Dean Kramer on the mound, as Griffin just pointed out. Jalen Beeks is the opener for the Rays, 6:30 on Masson. The Heat and the Lakers, the chance to close out playoff series on the road tonight. TNT for Game 5, Heat Knicks 7:30. Lakers Warriors Game 5 at 10 as well on TNT. ESPN Maple Leafs Panthers Game 4 at 7. Golden Knights Oilers Game 4 at 10. Masson 2. Nationals Giants at 3:45. MLB Network Dodgers Brewers at 1:30. I don't know why. I think I'm going to decide that all these other baseball games, you don't care. You can go find out about them at Glen Clark
I do
Radio.
care. I care.
They're there.
I'll
Go
give you a
find
winner
them.
for each one.
The NCAA Lacrosse Tournament playing game tonight is on
Marist.
ESPN Plus, just because you hate Delaware as a Towson person. Marist and Delaware at 7 o'clock. Champions League semifinal, AC Milan, Inter Milan. How about that? Leg 1 today at 3 o'clock on CBS. CBS Sports Network for the Washington Spirit and Orlando Pride tonight at 7:30. TBS for AEW Dynamite tonight at 8. Some non-sports highlights?
An episode of Survivor, Season 3 finale of Celebrity Wheel of Fortune. Vanna White is going to be playing Wheel of Fortune
how about that?
instead of revealing.
How about that?
The Game Show series premiere on ABC as well right after that.
It's going to be a no. I don't know
Michael
what it is,
Strahan and Mark Cuban apparently are on it tonight.
Nope.
The Season 2 finale of Single Drunk Female, your show.
Yes, I actually do enjoy Single Drunk Female. I haven't caught up though. I haven't watched a few in a while.
It's okay. It's they were doing like 2 episodes a week, so
okay.
it was quick. Dave, new episode of that. The Muppets Mayhem series on Disney Plus.
That actually sounds like something I would probably enjoy.
It does look kind of funny. Like it starts as like a doc. It looks like like talking about the Electric Mayhem, and like Lil Nas X gets interviewed, and he's like, I wouldn't be who I am today without the Electric Mayhem.
Okay.
But then it turns into like a kind of more of a kids show after that. They're like trying to learn about modern music making, and they have to learn what TikTok is.
Okay. All right, I don't know about that.
Yeah, so it kind of lost me there after that.
That might be good.
Becoming Ian Brady series, like docu-series on Prime Video, looking at one of Britain's notorious serial killers, Ian Brady. African Queens Season 2. This one's about Cleopatra. This is the one that's executive produced by Jada Pinkett.
All right, what about? Give me something else.
Class of 09 on Hulu. This is Brian Tyree Henry and Kate Mara. They're FBI agents, and they're from the Class of 09, and it looks really well done. Brian Tyree Henry, obviously a good actor, and they like follow them across like 3 decades as something happens in the FBI. Okay. I don't know if you're into the FBI, and of course Ted Lasso. New episode of that.
That's right. Very good. Hey, don't forget PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Sign up for all of these great bonuses, including up to $1,000 in a deposit bonus match plus $50 free bet with DraftKings. PressBoxOnline.com/offers in order to sign up. Thanks today to Drew Forrester. Thanks to Trace Bright and to Brett Makar. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh my God, it's so good.
tab at GlenClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program,
we will have Ben Verlander.
Ben Verlander is going to join us tomorrow.
Talk some Orioles, Adley.
We have a Hopkins lacrosse player, correct?
Ryan
Evans is going to join us tomorrow, and
the new Raven.
Yeah, we got to practice this. Malaisala
Amuve.
I think it's
Laulu.
All right, we got to practice that. We got to Laulu, I think is correct.
I've heard it the way you said it, and I've also heard Malasala, which is
what did I say? I thought that's what I said.
You said Malayasala, right?
No, I thought I said Malaisala.
Okay.
Oh my God, I don't know. We got to get it.
Laulu is definitely
Is there a video of him saying it somewhere that I can watch beforehand?
We'll find out.
God,
got some research after this.
Got some work to do, no doubt. And we got to get those chips. All right, thanks everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including AJ Michaels, Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, the Costas Inn, Hartford Community College, Birdland Sports, All-American Lacrosse, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin, at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, at Glen Clark Radio. We might still have room for another summer intern. We will see. Not sure. Waiting to hear back from a couple people, and Carson's going to be hanging out with us this summer, but I think he's only doing 1 day a week, so we might have room for another summer intern if you know
Carson
somebody.
Weekly.
Yes, Carson Weekly, exactly. Well, he's got to live up to the name.
Yeah. Well, we were calling him Tri-Weekly for.
Oh yeah, because he was hanging out a little bit more frequently. Anyway, at GlenClarkRadio@gmail.com if you know someone who might be interested. All right, very good. Have a great Wednesday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.